Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we have had an exciting day of action for the Rainbow Six U.S. Nationals, and it is time for our final match of the day. We're here, of course, at the Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel Analyst Corner. My name is Jump. I've got Rams and Veli kicking it with me, and now it is time to get ourselves started for a match that I know everyone is excited to see. Team Reciprocity versus none other than TSM.
Earlier on to see this as well. Myth is in the chat. You know, you guys know who Myth is, everyone's favorite streamer. He says TSM is going to walk away with this 2-1, but I think he might be wrong. TSM, yes, they have heavy hitters on their team, but Reciprocity, outside of Space Station Gaming, they look like one of the scariest teams to me if they can be consistent.
Yeah, Reciprocity, I think, have the advantage here. However, TSM has been playing a very good, flashy, adaptive playstyle with the addition of Timzy to their team, performing a role specifically, not deviating too far away from the plan, letting his team, dictate his movements forward. And Reciprocity are going to have to play more consistently than we saw them yesterday if they want to beat TSM at all.
And I mean, we had the conversation about TSM willing to change things up. Of course, Myth has to keep with that. I know you changed your hair, buddy. It looks really good. But TSM has the ability to adapt as well, and we're going to be able to have an opportunity to see that very soon. But it's time to welcome our teams to the stage. Jackie is standing by for the introductions. Take it away, madam.
Thanks so much, Jump. Okay, so I had to bring this back up, but I was right about Coastline. So I love you, Ramby, but I was right. So anyways, he's a little bit sick. I still love him. Anyway, we ready for some matches? The semifinals, right? Western Conference. Okay, I need y'all to cheer really loud if we're gonna bring them out. I like that enthusiasm. Our first team I'm actually teasing you guys. We're not bringing them out yet, but we're gonna show you a video about them. Take it away. Did you guys like that video? Do you want to see him come out? All right, we'll bring him out. Our first team, TSM. Their opponent, Reciprocity. Our teams are ready. Let's get this started. Back to you guys in the studio.
We've got TSM, we have Team Reciprocity, and we have what many consider to actually be the national championship. Believe it or not, with both of these firepower teams, we have the mechanical gods and we have the patient monsters of TSM rocking through. Gentlemen, let's talk through both of these teams. I want to start with TSM first. Of course, we know that there's going to be the TSM chants in the chat as well live at the venue, but these players, they're ready to rock and roll. Achieved, Bolo, Merc, Geo, and Timzy. Of course, Timzy coming in as the sub and already proving that he belongs to be on this stage.
The one thing that really stands out, look at Achieved. He was the man that we all had our eyes set on yesterday. Positive 16 in one of the best matches that we've seen against Evil Geniuses. Achieved does it all, but if Achieved doesn't step up today, you still have Merc and Geo. Bolo's still there, and Timzy, he's gonna be the one to plant the bombs.
Obviously, when it comes to both of these teams, consistency is key, but you have to talk about consistent support. I think that Timsy, if he has a little bit more confidence today, I think that he'll be a lot more impactful on a lot of the rounds for TSM.
Well, taking a flip on the other side of the stage, we've got Team Reciprocity. They showed up huge yesterday with Nyx, Laxing, Retro, Foxay, and Vertical, making sure that they had their presence known. And of course, we've brought it up many times, but Vertical, the only remaining player from the Team USA Winners Rogue of last year, and certainly making sure that he would be the first ever two-peat in this realm of Team USA.
The very inconsistent back and forth game against Luminosity yesterday. Team Reciprocity, they definitely have a lot of gelling left to do in order to be a top team in this game. But the one thing you cannot count this team out for is whenever their backs are against the wall. It seems like they play better in those scenarios. 1vx's, 2vx's, somehow they always come out on top.
Yeah, once they got onto the defensive side of Villa, it was, sort of right back up all the way through 5 rounds in a row, I think it was. Standout plays from Laxing, playing multiple roles on multiple rounds of the defense. He didn't do it, meaning he didn't do the same thing every single defense. He did something different a little bit every time. And then Nyx stepping up for his team as that support player. He's not known for playing support, but he seemed to step up, and he's going to have to step up again today. Well,
we've talked a lot about Laxing and Vertical, but we need to make sure highlighting in the head-to-head another member of Reciprocity that you see on the screen, the protege of Fuya herself. It's going to be Foxay, and his head-to-head comparison, of course, will be against none other than TSM's Achieved. We can look at those comparison stats right now. Foxay with a +8 of 30-22 KD, and then Achieved, however, with a +16, 34 and 18.
The stats show that both these players are positive, with Achieved obviously being a lot more impactful for his team. But I think that comes from a lot of the shots that he's calling. He is the temporary IGL for TSM since Pojo Man is going to be coaching behind and is unable to play in the tournament. I think that he was able to set himself up along with, directing what Timsy needed to do. We saw a lot of Timsy planting the diffuser and Achieved directly covering him and just picking up frag after frag after frag. And I think that's where a lot of that came from. But then Foxay, however, was a little quiet, but still always there for his team when he needed to be.
And I think when you think about the overall themes of this matchup, there are clearly a lot of question marks in the actual strategy that Reciprocity is going to bring in, as we do know them as the fraggers. But I think it's going to come down to patience, because the patience that TSM showed in their match yesterday certainly proves that they have that ability. If Reciprocity can match that, I would not be surprised if we go to a full 3 maps.
Reciprocity, I don't think they're going to show patience. I think they're going to be all up in your face trying to get these gunfights. And the reason why is that if they utilize that type of strategy against TSM, you might catch them slipping. We know Timsy plays extremely slow. He plays in the back. If you can pick off 1 kill at a time, you can slowly shut this team down.
I think that this matchup is going to be all about aggression. I don't think either team is going to shy away from any engagements. The main question mark in my mind is how impactful is Laxing's playstyle going to be during this matchup? Because typically we've seen players try to avoid Laxing's positions, avoid the positions that everyone knows that he is going to be playing. But I think that TSM might try to isolate him and just eliminate him early off in rounds if they can figure out where he's coming from, because he's usually by himself, so that they can effectively not have to anticipate someone holding some crazy angle or cutting off a rotation late into the round.
All right, well, we do have an opportunity, though, to see where we're going to be going, because it matters if you frag, but sometimes those maps make a difference. The veto for our best of 3 has been concluded, and let's see what we got. Border and Cafe taken away, which means Bank for TSM, Clubhouse for Reciprocity, the follow-up 2 bands of Coastline and Consulate, which means the decider will be on Villa.
Pretty interesting choice, especially going to Bank. I feel like on Bank, Reciprocity can do pretty good as well. Their aggressive play style, and they know how to play the objective game, especially when Goddess was on the team last year. The type of mentality that they have to play the objective is still there, apparently. But TSM, we've seen new looks all the time, especially with Pojo out. We don't know what to expect.
I sat down, well, not sat down. I was walking alongside Vertical, going from his area to the player lounge earlier during the last match. And I said, what are you excited for? What are you ready for with these maps? And he said, honestly, we know that TSM loves Bank. We expect that to be in the map pool, and we want to go there first because we're more than willing to beat them at their own game. That level of confidence alone tells me that Reciprocity has a game plan.
The red flag that pops up in my head at the end of that map ban is the decider map, Villa. If Reciprocity can't 2-0 TSM, I think they're going to lose because we saw how poorly they performed on Villa, but maybe they've had just enough time to correct some of their mistakes and solidify some of those positions and roles that we didn't see out of the Villa attack for them. Because if Reciprocity can attack as well as they can defend on Villa, they can obviously win the map. But right now, that is not a strong choice. And I think that if Reciprocity don't 2-0 TSM, they will lose.
Yeah, Villa's definitely going to be the biggest question mark for Reciprocity, but I feel like after day one down behind us now, Nyx is definitely more comfortable than he was, and you know, sometimes it takes that first day, the little jitters to go away, and then you come back, you play that maestro, and you get picks to help out Laxing Vertical.
All right, well, it is time, gentlemen, to make your predictions. It has been a rocky day number one, but you know what, Rams, you're starting to claw your way back into prediction game. You've got a best of three. The winner faces Space Station Gaming in the U.S. Nationals Championship. Who's walking away with the victory?
Well, after seeing the maps that they're going to be playing on, I think that TSM has this one in the bag.
All right, TSM it is. What about you?
Not even a question, Reciprocity all the way.
All right, it's a split vote. What about you over in the audience? Who do you feel is gonna win? TSM or Reciprocity? Make sure that you make some noise. We also took to the online world and we said, what do you think is going to win? And 67% of you said that TSM was gonna have it, 33% saying Reciprocity. We are ready to go. The map is getting started. It's off to the money bags. Bank is on the way, and we've got two fantastic casters that are gonna be kicking it. It's none other than Stokes and Blue. Gentlemen, it's all you.
Thank you very much, Jump. And it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to jump into our final conference finals before we get into the USN finals themselves. And Stokes, what a match this is going to be. We've got so many cool story factors playing into this. Let's start talking about them.
Oh, it's amazing, especially how the map bans broke down. We're going back to Bank, where we saw plenty of plans go down by TSM yesterday, but Reciprocity also picking up Clubhouse, which is a very interesting pick because they dominated on that yesterday. You can only take a couple bullets out of the gun. You're obviously going to allow a map through that they want. It just happened to be Clubhouse this time around. I think that's going to be the scariest factor for TSM in these map choices.
Villa remaining a mainstay at this tournament, as well as it makes its way into the pool once again as a third map, and is going to make things very interesting. Now, from the individual side of things, we've got a couple of factors to talk about. One, pretty much everybody on Reciprocity yesterday playing lights out. We had similar results from TSM, but there's one very large asterisk on that, and that was the performance from Timsy, the fill-in coming in for these guys. From a utility perspective, he did everything right and had probably the most individual plants on a single player I've personally ever seen in a professional Siege match. They also had Achieved, who had the best single match performance based on Siege GG rating out of the entire tournament yesterday. So there's a lot playing into that, but the problem is with everybody on Reciprocity looking so consistent, I don't know if Timsy still falling behind in the fragging department is going to be enough for TSM to get over the hump here, but we're going to find out as we're already into the first map and already into the ban phase.
That is definitely got to be on TSM's mind. Can Timsy win those ones? There was plenty of rounds yesterday that were right inside of their grasp just if Timsy wins that one gunfight. Might be those shakes on main stage that we thought coming into this. It's his first land. Hopefully those are gone now, but we're rolling through bans pretty quickly, folks. Mav, Jackal already gone, so pretty regular bans. The Maverick kind of out of the ordinary for hard destruction, but you're going to have your two standard ones in Habana as well as Thermite. And a really, really weird one coming out. We're going to have Reciprocity remove Vigil.
Very specific ban, it seems, for them not wanting to deal with just that roaming presence and not wanting to deal with the delays that can be caused by trying to track down the specific position of a Vigil, which it's not that hard to, it's a bit hard to see that just from a layman's perspective watching the game, but if you're paying attention to sort of attacking teams' delay, and if you notice a Vigil in the field, oftentimes it's because they can't actually figure out where the Vigil is. So I suppose they're going to try banning that out and seeing if it'll speed up the possibility of their attacks.
Also, a flashback to yesterday for TSM on defense. They did use Vigil quite often for delay, so it's a cover pick for quite a few of their players, as it is in regular rotation for them. Laxing already 6 picking off as he picks up the Warden. Reciprocity, one of the first teams to really adopt a Warden into their lineups for Bank, so you're more than likely going to see a Blue Stairs hold here.
In fact, to be specific, I think the largest majority of the lineups that TSM often use where they win usually ends up with Vigil in the lineup. So There is a very specific target ban reason, not to any particular player, but to the team as to why Reciprocity may have chosen to ban it out.
A lot of the times inside of these competitive environments, it's the spot bans that matter, the ones that actually strike at the heart of the team, rather than, hey, we're kind of used to not having this, but it's going to be off the field anyways because everyone thinks it's strong.
So it's actually not even that dominant either. Looking at their compositional lineups that they've run in the past where they've had Vigil in it, there's really only one of those where they use Mozzie along with Legion, Jaeger, and Pulse, where they win a large majority of the rounds. Other than that, there's just not a large enough sample size to get data from at this point. But yeah, it's an interesting pick either way from Reciprocity, so probably just coming off of yesterday's results. So we do have TSM on the field here, and we're going to start seeing them push in to start this basement attack.
They did such a great job at dominating this map on the offensive side with roam clears and everything. There was no real chance yesterday for a roam to come back and bite them. Overall, a great showing, so we'll see how they start off bank today. Team Reciprocity does enjoy those roam games, and they love those aggressive holds, but usually on bank, they do tend to just sit downstairs because anybody that does roam upstairs on a downstairs hold is typically a dead man walking because there's so many dang windows throughout this entire map.
Still a lot of drone work being done here by TSM. Achieved specifically taking control of Square first, and to watch out now for the presence that they might get back from the stairs. This was a large part of the match that TSM played in yesterday versus EG, was just trying to get down these stairs and get access to the site. They had a lot of problems dealing with the smoke that was often positioned here. Now Reciprocity doesn't have a smoke here. They do have a Warden in that position to try and hold this off. As far as I can see, no ADSs that he currently has able to fend off nades here. So one more is going to get shot down at him. Will actually not able to do a whole lot of damage, and to a big surprise, there's two players hiding out in here. Vertical is going to be able to get two. He loses his teammate, or at least has him go down, but no! Vertical switches to the pistol, manages to take out Timsy as well. That's 3 for him, a massive play. He's dropped the diffuser as well.
What else would you expect from Vert getting super aggro? But one man has been down. It's Laxing down by Timsy. Fogton with a nice nitro cell as the hatch gets open, takes down Geo. It's all left up to Bolo in a 1 versus 5 as Laxing gets picked back up. Vertical still pocketing some ADSs, sets those down so doesn't have to worry about any concussions pouring in from the door. This is more than likely going to be a wash here unless Bolo can pull out some heroics. Moves on over to the impacts now, and actually his last concussion will pour through, but there's 2 people lying in wait. A quick shotgun shot and a flawless round for Reciprocity to start us off.
Nice hold from Rec, a solid basement play, and once again, TSM is going to find themselves getting tripped up and trying to get access to those stairs leading down to server. Similar problems to what was showing up yesterday in the EG game. Let's see how they look to change that up. Now, obviously, the site will change with Reciprocity winning on the defense, and they're going to follow the expected route so far, these sites, just heading directly upstairs after the victory on basement.
Executive and CEO, a site that a lot of teams hold very aggressively to those northern windows because a lot of people like to repel on them. Might see some spawn kills, might see some high-flying action as well, since Laxing is on Valkyrie, more than likely going to try and get some information to the outside, but Bolo's going to directly counter that as he flicks back and forth onto the IQ, but it'll eventually get locked in as we're locked in for round 2 of this absolute heater of a match so far.
Look at the setup now. Vertical playing onto a dock this time, so already having a great performance in that first round is now going to try to get even more complex and maybe even a little bit greedy, if I do say so myself, depending on what he's going to try to do at the beginning of this round. We'll see exactly what that is in a couple seconds here.
As opposed to how TSM was handling things yesterday, playing up against Evil Geniuses, EG has a completely different play style than what Reciprocity has. Reciprocity is super aggro. It's more of a hybrid aggro style. They keep a couple people on site, but they continue this rotation of just 2 to 3 people that roll around the map and get kills. Or you have people like Vert who just walk up blue and continually frag out along the way because he just keeps getting those one-on-one gunfights because that's all Reciprocity wants. TSM currently giving them those situations, and right now is when they already need to make that adjustment and go, okay, we're not playing against EG anymore, we're playing against Reciprocity. They want these gunfights, we need those supporting angles, we have to play this right or we're going to lose this early.
So TSM wasting no time on spawn. Merc already going to move himself to the square doorway. He'll have his teammate on Skylight knock out the door for him so that he can move in and start checking out what things look like on the inside. It looks like there is a little bit of drone work that they just do in square before they commit themselves to it. So not too much delay here. It's also still Good 2.5 minutes remaining, so no need to rush things. Either way for TSM anyway. They do have a pretty nice drone inside of Janitor as well that more than likely won't get noticed by anyone on Rec. There's one right up on top of the very top left shelves as you go in the room from the elbow, sitting over in the hallways there. So that will probably be a good amount of intel to the attackers and make getting into Janitor, should they choose, a lot easier for TSM. There we go, they strike first this time. Able to find Foxe, also trying to go for the next pickup over here. They find Laxing hiding inside of Janitor entry, and they're gonna be able to take him out.
Electrical room, very sneaky. Retro waiting with impacts in hand. Gets the first one. Needs some assistance from the window by Geo. That tactical crossbolt can definitely handle the situation so that they can get the wall open. Timsy ready with another one, but he's already had quite a bit of damage dealt to him, so hopefully the impact doesn't down him. They need the firebolt right now, but no, it's not going to be enough. They didn't time it well. Retro gets away, and also, wait, no, he doesn't get a kill. Geo actually takes him down. Merc gets another. That's going to be Nyx. It's all down to Vertical now in a 1 versus 5. Seems like a mirror match from last time. Get the Toby eye tracker up so you guys can see exactly what's going on as he removed Merc from the game. Drone coming in towards meeting, fires through the wall into Janitor, but doesn't find too much. Vertical twisting and turning finally gets shut down by Achieved, and TSM ties things up.
Two very one-sided rounds right now, and that's going to make for a really interesting game if it continues to be that pace for the opening few rounds here, possibly even the opening half. Rec dominates on that server stairs hold in the first round when taking control of the basement for their first defensive win. On the second floor, things aren't nearly as clean, and TSM was just a pretty straightforward square take, are able to win out the second round.
Overall, a pretty impressive showing from TSM. They couldn't even get the wall open, but they were still able to find those frags. And that's the one downfall to the playstyle of Reciprocity is when you're that aggro and you end up losing people early on, if it snowballs, the round is practically the offense or defense, depending on what side you're on. It's your opponent's round. TSM just took things pretty leisurely, did the proper things, droned out properly, find Laxing downstairs in the electrical room, and find a few stragglers as well, knock it down to the 1v5 that Vert had to try and bring it back from, but obviously those don't happen very often in this category of play.
We're going to see Rec once again reinforcing everything. Not really much of a reason as to why this would have changed so much. Still going to see the dock being played over by Vertical. We do have the Echo in play this time as well. Necessarily believe we had in the previous round, so they are adding a little bit of utility, it seems. I'm going to try and see if they do a better job of fending off the relatively quick play from their opponents there and getting square control. And then unfortunately, the lost duels that were taken by Reciprocity that would lead to the eventual outcome of the round in TSM's favor.
Well, a lot of information games set up for Reciprocity in the likes of Fox, Vert, and Laxing. Valkyrie is, oh, excuse me, not Vert, Nyx. Apologies there. So Echo, Maestro, as well as Valkyrie, that's a lot of cameras on the field, and that's a lot of work for Bolo to do, but obviously he really can't deal with any of those evil eyes since they do have a bulletproof casing on the outside. So gonna need the sledgehammer or some explosive to get rid of those, more than likely going to be achieved with that sledge as TSM starts the clear. Traditionally speaking, they've been taking from ATM or having someone set on ATM windows, peering into the top floor or west windows, depending on what the site is. And Bolo's found quite a few picks for them because of these windows, at least up against Evil Geniuses. We haven't seen him be too successful, but he really hasn't had to be. Team Reciprocity, especially in that last round, were showing a lot of face, and TSM kind of claimed them all.
So TSM, once again, getting easy access to square to start this off. Nice spot as well, knocks out Laxing's camera. Relative ease there, so not gonna be able to glean any info from that. They do spot the Valkyrie itself too. Drone positioning right now for TSM has been really good, and I think it's caught them quite a bit of extra intel. They had that drone in the previous round too, which may explain why they were able to get in to those sites upstairs so easily despite not having great access. There is still one good camera for Laxing here. You can see the square stairs from Retro though. Goes crazy, jumping out. That's just for a starting kill. Bolo gonna wrap back now. See him out, finally locates him in the corner. Was being a little bit cautious of a second jump out just in case they wanted to secure Retro, but no, it will indeed just be a 1-for-1 at the end of the day. Achieved, spamming into the window, nearly gets a member of Reciprocity. I'm not sure if he saw Foxe or it just worked out that way. But either way, he dodges it and falls back towards the site.
Well, the issue that's on the table for TSM now is that you don't have anyone on your north windows, and you're definitely going to need that. You can't counter out all of these impacts, but Retro's already dead, so they don't have too much to worry about unless Foxy can possibly get to the wall and has his impacts on his Maestro. If he doesn't, then they can just get the wall open for free. They don't have to worry about any electricity or anything of that sort that could possibly deny them the wall. Timsy's actually already got it open. We just did not hear it go off. Timsy with a couple of shots towards Nyx, lights him up, but not enough to be fatal. Bolo finally gets taken down. Nyx with a repeat takes down Timsy. Diffuser now down at the top of square as everyone's following suit. Laxing to take down achieved. Merc, the only remaining member alive for TSM. He's yokai'd everything on his shoulders right now as every bit of utility falls down on top of him.
Just far too much for Merc to deal with there. No hope of winning it, sadly. So Foxy will eventually just spam into him, taking him out and claiming the second round for Rec. Also, importantly, controlling that upstairs site finally. Basement, I believe, just got unlocked, so they're going to go back to that and just try to go in a bit of a circle here.
All right, well, as we complete the makeshift side triangle, only getting through two rounds here.
More of a sight line, right?
Yeah, more of a sight line.
Next round it could become a triangle.
TSM kind of threw a wrench into that, didn't they?
Yeah.
So, all right, well, 6 pick right off rip. Laxing going over to the Warden because he doesn't want to tell straight to the other team that, hey, we're going downstairs. Bolo shifting things because obviously mental math, they're more than likely going to go downstairs. And you want that utility to try and deal with blue stairs. Hopefully they will be able to successfully take this time and recognize out that Reciprocity is going to be more aggressive because that's what they did the last time. They're more than likely going to stack blue. They don't want you to take control of server, so you're going to have to fight fire with fire. Either burn out their utility and try and get some nades down while peeking with them. We saw that attempt by Achieve the last time. It didn't work out, where he actually had 3 successful attempts with it yesterday. He finally found somebody that would win out the gunfight, and it just happened to be Vert.
Let's see if Laxing is going to stick with the same role of playing into those server stairs. He kind of had an interesting draw where it seemed like his hold was going to work, but he ended up being the first to get picked, and it was Vert instead on the Jaeger that did most of the heavy lifting there once he went down. But we'll see if they're going to put him in that same position again, or if they're just going to commit Vert to it now instead of having him roam somewhere else. But it does look like it's pretty much the same setup as round number 1, and they're going to have that Warden on Laxing do the defensive setup to try and keep TSM out of basement.
2 members sitting instead of blue stairs for Team Reciprocity, currently Laxing and Vertical, as well as Fox rocking the cardiac sensor for the pulse as the traditional clear comes through from TSM. Start ATMs, clear out top floor with drones, get control of the open area, get those hatches open. That's all on the list for them right now, and that's why you see Geo on Habana. Maverick more than likely coming out because TSM likes to cheese whiz that wall, or excuse me, Swiss cheese that wall downstairs on server so that Geo can shoot nitro cells out of the air while Timsy's trying to put a diffuser down. So both of the bans for Team Reciprocity are check bans to TSM. Pretty interesting coming out from them.
Chief going to start to make a run down to the main floor here now that they have droned out the large majority, I believe, of the first and second floor. Have security.
See you on the
other side. The fact they're not going to be contested upon moving down. And you can tell there is not necessarily a will to go towards those server stairs from TSM. In fact, it looks like they're going to be avoiding it entirely and potentially doing an elevator drop and main stairs play instead, which makes sense. There's a lot of presence over on those Visa stairs right now and not nearly as much on the other side. That's going to change quickly, though. As you can tell, Vertical and a few other players like Retro have already started to catch on to this and are rotating into defensive positions.
Should be too hard for Reciprocity to read into this. I mean, they do have Foxy on the cardiac sensor. He can tell you where everyone is. Achieved is high-tailing it in, though. Throws himself down the elevator, takes down Vert. That's a man who shut down the push downstairs last time. Merv with a quick prone angle, flips that through the wall, does a little bit of damage, but not very much at all. Gunfight with Nyx inside a garage, but Trade's coming back, and now Team Reciprocity finally equalizing. Bolo on top of Nyx. Foxy rotates to try and shut them down on these hatch drops right on the tail of Timsy. Does he know where he is, though? He's got his feet if he hops over on that slight angle, but close to the window is exactly where he waits, trying to make sure that they cannot get shot. All down to Foxy now as Laxing loses his life. Jumps over, more than likely hurt that. Can the shots go through? And Timsy wins it out. He's winning gunfights today, folks.
Timsy taking a nice duel at the end. He is able to get the better of Foxy ultimately with the angle and win it out. Bit of a Hail Mary switch up from TSM, but it's done in a very fast and very efficient way so that Rec did not have the opportunity to properly adjust. And even when they did, seems like they overplayed their hand. Most players in the late round, they're dying to that execute due to their own aggression rather than TSM's.
Well, hopefully that can inspire the TSM roster to bring in more of that frag power. Again, they play against these guys on a regular basis. They're both inside of North America. They know this play style. They just have to reach out and grab it. That's all they have to do. We've talked so much over this weekend about TSM's frag potential and what they can do with that three-headed monster that Rams was talking about yesterday. They're like a Hydra, man. You cut one head off and another one shall appear. They still have Geo in the back pocket, and if Timsy comes online, oh my. That is a dangerous, dangerous setup.
I mean, yeah, if Timsy gets himself into a position where he feels more comfortable and is able to get, you know, like something close to like a 50-50 1v1 rating, this team is going to be unstoppable based on the way they played yesterday.
Absolutely.
It should be a 2-0 for TSM in my eyes at that point. But if it doesn't happen, that's where Rec will start to take control. So this is a very, very close match, just like the one versus EG yesterday. TSM really has their work cut out for them here at USM.
They both really do, because TSM has these bursts of speed. There isn't just an aggressive front like Reciprocity will put on. They put on an aggressive face, sprint right to where they want. They try and take map control very quickly. TSM's very methodical at the beginning of rounds. Take their time, drone things out. They know the sections of the map that they can have control of for free. They take those, then start to, you know, traverse to other areas in order to take control of those. Once they have the map control that they need, then is when those aggressive bursts start coming out. Get the hatches open. Somebody hatch drops, like Achieve, dropping down the elevator in E1. You don't see that stuff happen too often in work. And that's why it's so confusing with TSM, because you're like, okay, they're moving very slowly through the map. Oh wait, Achieve's in sight and I'm shot. It's very, you know, confusing when you are on site and all of a sudden someone just spawns, basically.
Reloading, it's happened all too many times, or at least seemingly happened anyway. So we do have TSM going to start taking some map control here relatively soon, with the 2-minute warning soon to come up for these guys. Not a whole lot for them to work with just yet, but they are being cautious due to how aggressive Team Rec has been playing up to this point, and obviously has been known to play in the past. So a lot of droning emphasis for these guys right now. Again, methodical style to the play. They don't want to give anything over to Rec that they don't have to, so they want to check everything before they commit.
They're definitely going to want to check everything, because there's plenty of reinforcements upstairs that aren't traditionally there on these style of holds. Specifically, they need to drone and make sure that they know that Laxing is inside of E1. He's inside the elevator with the hatch open. They reinforce the elevator walls towards Lone Office as well. Laxing's going to drop off now as the goo mine goes off into Achieve's foot. So now they have all the map presence that they need in order to go for the next couple of steps. Also, line and wait on that mid-4 though. Foxe and Vert, currently inside of small office and open area, but TSM's working on other things. They're working on the server wall already.
They're going to see a bit of spam come through since that is a soft wall on a Hibana charge, but not a lot of it going to get killed. They still managed to get a pretty decent sized hole in the wall here. Achieved. Get himself forward, but the problem is they hadn't realized that those players were hiding inside of the small office and open. Foxe and Vert pick up 2 quick kills, and that's already going to be Timsy and Geo out of the fight, along with both of the hard breachers too. Achieved, now going to be the next to fall here as the trap is sprung and it works flawlessly. Foxe gets himself a new Pokemon as he takes care of Achieved. Laxing finds the next. Everything on Merc in a 1v5, and he doesn't have a hope of shutting this down with 35 seconds left.
More than likely going to get collapsed on top as well, but now everyone's actually rotating. Nyx and Retro the only 2 on site. The other 3 remain upstairs. Likely rotating behind Merc as he holds an angle, just waiting. Retro's got a Nitro Cell in hand, seeing if Merc will possibly go for a plant, but doesn't even have Diffuser. Nitro Cell goes off, doesn't bag him too much, but it will blow the door open for Merc, as Merc actually gets a kill up to the hatch onto Foxe. Toby Eye Tracker online for you guys, so you can see exactly where Merc's looking and see his eyes as they close for the last time in this round.
Is going to be Reciprocity shutting things down as Nyx picks up the final kill for these guys. Merc finally caught.
Okay, so I'm just going to say it. You drone out everything, but you don't drone the area where you're going to blow a hatch? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's very important, it would seem. But, like, again, it's not, I guess it's not normally played into.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why you drone. That's why drones exist, Blue.
Oh, here we go. Rec's going to have some fun now.
Uh-oh. staff room open area.
So they are going to bypass working their way over towards the teller's office. You were talking about this yesterday, I think, during the TSM game, about how we had seen teams start to choose this site specifically over tellers a lot more recently. And we're going to see an example of that here with Rec.
Well, the reasoning, I actually had a discussion with Zeronic a little while ago. I believe it was in Japan. We had a discussion about this site on this map. This is the only site in the entire map that there's a way to drop into it and a way to drop out of it. So you can actually really quickly rotate on and off of site. So it's very creative in that way. Now it's going to be interesting to see what Team Reciprocity does with that, because as we all know, they never do anything traditional. So we'll see where these reinforcements lie.
Very, very true. Well, it's looking like we do have a few players that are going to be playing off-site and doing some roam work here in the early round. It actually appears though it's quite a few. We'll wait a couple seconds to see who ends up, still setting things up like reinforcements and is going to end up roaming back. And we'll get a better picture for what their actual plan is here.
Well, at first glance, it seems like a full horizontal hold with how they have the reinforcements and setups. They have a lot of soft destruction done to the walls for archives, as well as the bottom of square, just to try and be a nuisance to anyone that possibly rotates through there. Also, they have a little bit of top pressure. This shouldn't be too much that TSM can't handle. They're starting their take inside of the office, but they do have to worry about quite a few nitro cells. That's 3 nitro cells on the defense, Blue. That's a lot of explosives.
Achieved, going to see that upstairs here in CEO, where we don't have the site, it's going to be quite clear for the taking. And that's not entirely true. There still is going to be the Mute hiding up on the inside of Janitor. Maybe at least one more up here too. It's hard to see the silhouettes at this time. Merc's going to go ahead and set up a Claymore just to stop any quick little run-ups from those square stairs. Besides that, Achieved also keeping eyes out, trying to locate Laxing, but will get the better of him. And now retreats down Spiral. From that front desk position, or tries to anyway. Bolo is going to catch the better of him from that front entrance at ATMs. Trades it back, down to a 4v4.
Well, steady goings for TSM so far through this offensive round, and this is going to be their last one before they shift things on over to defense. The sheer amount of soft destruction that they have done to these walls has got to be absolutely daunting for TSM. This is a lot of drone work, a lot of information. There's literally no one home upstairs, but as you can see, Timsy and Bolo still very, very scared of who could possibly be lying in wait, just because of what happened to them on that last round, where all of a sudden, everyone seemed to be on the mid-floor when they didn't think anyone was home. TSM shifting things towards lobby now.
So Rec still kind of patiently waiting, at least as far as their type of play is concerned. This push coming from TSM. TSM now with less than a minute in order to make this happen. We've got Timsy, front tellers, ready to burst open a wall. We do have the castle on the other side of this, so he's going to be in an awkward spot. Just takes the fight directly, and he's going to win it. Foxe finding a frag against Bolo. Timsy there a moment later to trade it, however. Still even at a 3v3, but time now nearly non-existent for TSM. This execute needs to come in, and it needs to come in now.
TSM needs to make some magic happen here in order for this to work out. They have one more person to try and beat out. It's Vertical sitting inside of Archives, and they'll have access. A couple shots, tag up Timsy. Also a bullet making it into the shoulder of Merc. Geo loses out the first gunfight, knocking it down to the 2 versus 3. Only 15 seconds remain as they try and pressure on the site. Hot marks come in for, I believe, Merc. Lasers coming through as well. A nice shot. Timsy gets taken down, but Merc to win it out. Retro with the shotgun and the SMG-11. Doesn't matter what weapon, the man is lethal.
Reciprocity remaining consistent here. Been able to win out on the staff open area site right before they switch side. Just throwing a little bit of a curveball at TSM before the half ends, but they do manage to sustain a solid 4-2 lead coming off that defensive half. Now only 3 more from a map 1 victory and a lead in this series.
All right, well, Lockers CCTV. We're going to be headed for the first defensive round of TSM, and we're relatively going to have the same setup that we saw yesterday, Merc rocking the castle, which, as we traditionally talk about on this site, you don't see too often, but they like it for splitting up the upstairs just for the roamers to be a little bit more comfortable. Also, those impacts are very handy at making rotates quickly as to not waste people's time. Well, TSM was apparently the Sonics now, but despite that, I have some reinforcements going up top just to extend that roam a little bit.
again, basement defense here for TSM. Probably for this first round, I would expect them to defend it pretty normally. You saw Rec make a couple of adjustments. Unfortunately, didn't really pan out too much into their favor, with TSM eventually able to get more free control of areas like server stairs, where before they were over-defended almost by Reciprocity. So some interesting stuff being tried by them on this basement. However, I believe TSM are going to play things pretty much to the traditional T that you would expect on this site. We've got a pulse play that's going to be on Achieve, so he's going to be able to see when the first players move in towards Square, and then probably, or actually the tunnel as well, of course. Then he's going to be able to fall back play within gold bars when and if Rec are able to get control. As you can see, there is no presence coming from that direction to start this round, though. So we are going to see Rec move in towards ATMs, and I believe the backside as well here.
All right, well, Nyx on Ash. We saw this a lot yesterday in Reciprocity's matchup, but Nyx has not skipped a beat since coming from Dark Zero. The man still got it. He's looking for these frags once again. Reciprocity overall yesterday showed every bit of fragging prowess that they had, and Laxing will be the first one on the offense to start things off with Reciprocity. And he's going to take out one of the most important people on TSM. It's going to be Bolo.
Do have a soft wall left open over here next to the small office in front lobby, so that's going to pop open a hole into the main hallway. Give them quite a bit of view here to work off of. Nyx will go fragging once again. Now is able to find himself the next pickup against Merc. Tried to chase one more, but it seems that member of TSM that was on the main stairs, I believe either Geo or Achieve, is going to end up falling back down. Looks like it was Geo.
Well, plenty of pressure for Reciprocity now, so they should be able to take things over very easily. Still have Foxay up, everyone on full HP and healthy for Reciprocity after checking those vitals, so rotating over to blue now with EMPs and the rest of their utility. Timzy, Geo, and Achieve, the only three alive for TSM. Reciprocity bearing down on blue stairs. I'll have to see how long Timzy could possibly survive here. Another EMP coming in. No frag grenades, just stun grenades now pouring in as Timzy twists and turns to try and avoid the stuns. Shotgun in hand. Can definitely deal with the pressure if it comes to all these stuns now pouring in. They peek through. He does plenty of damage to Nyx, but the shotgun sells him out. And it's going to be a double kill for Nyx on the round. Vertex on. It's all left up to Achieve in a 1 versus 5.
Achieve trying to do something here. Drone's already going to find his position. He takes an immediate duel at main stairs, and Vert shuts it down. Reciprocity closes out their opening attack with a flawless round. That does not look good for TSM.
Well, roam game not working out too hot for TSM, and that's going to be calls for a timeout. It is their map pick. You guys heard Reciprocity themselves. They're ready for this. They wanted to go to Bank. They thought that that was the map that they were going to go to, and they'd be correct. So, as you guys can tell from the bans as well, they kind of knew exactly what they were doing when walking into this one. Poj thinking that he's got a couple of thoughts, and overall, TSM, it just feels like on the roam game so far, they haven't been supporting each other as much as they were yesterday. Yesterday, you had everyone kind of clustered up as that Wrecking Ball crew that was just ruining everything that the offense was attempting to do. This time around, it was a lot of single one-on-one gunfights that Reciprocity just got to take over and over again and just steamrolled the defense.
So, Reciprocity at this point looking very solid. TSM realizes this. They've taken a pause, trying to figure out what exactly has been going wrong in these defensive rounds, maybe extending outwards too much. They need to play more passively. Timzy definitely has had a visible improvement in his ability to take gunfights comparatively to yesterday. So I don't think that's a major factor in the issues for TSM anymore here. I'd like to see the stats when we get in game just to kind of double confirm that. But I think overall, Timzy's been putting up a much better fight in this matchup than we saw yesterday. So now it's more on getting over the very, very strong prowess that we're seeing right now from Rec when it comes to these mid-round adjustments they're making, along with just getting past the individual players themselves. And I think that pretty much speaks for itself.
Yeah, this has been definitely an upgrade for Reciprocity inside of their play style. It's truly incredible to see what they did with these roster moves. It's kind of like getting a Mustang, you know, but then you get the GT and you're like, oh, well, this is a lot faster. You know, it just seems like they've really just beefed up everything that they were about, and I'm really here for it. It's overall been fantastic with their playstyle, especially on defense. Bank is a map that I didn't really feel like fit Reciprocity's playstyle for their defensive setups, but they're proving me wrong so far. Very creative in some of the ways that they handle things, especially that open area defense.
Yeah, I mean, Vert specifically for me has been looking really good. Like, he kind of just fit on this team like a glove, it seems. He's been flowing in it back to the first round, right, where he pulls off that crazy stairs hold. So he's going to bring these types of plays here. This is already a team where we're known for seeing stuff like that happen pretty regularly. And, you know, just like TSM with their own pickup of Geo, it's a really, really smart addition overall.
Yeah, the additions of Vert and Nyx, I don't know if you can compare them to anything else inside of NA at this time. I mean, a lot of people were spitballing what was going to happen with Dark Zero, saying that that was a top move. I think you kind of have to argue this. Big pick coming out, though, while we are bantering back and forth with roster moves and everything else. Merc's going to take down Retro. That's one of the hard destructors and a very important one at that off the field.
Big delay that's going to come from this is someone has to go all the way back there to get the diffuser now.
Yeah, that's a long ways away.
So like, you know,
it's 80 meters across the roof.
Yeah.
That's like, it's like a 15-second run. And
Retro,
that might not matter now, but it's going to matter at the end of the round.
Yeah, it's going to cost them. It's going to cost at least one player a solid, 20, 30 seconds here to go get that. So it's going to waste quite a bit of time, even if they're ready for their execute, which of course they're not. This could cause issues. Achieved. Has some nice vision over there on the main stairs. He's going to be calling this out for sure. Gets himself just a direct ping onto it. Merc moves in to finish him off. That's Nyx going down. Easy frag so far here for TSM. And there we go. They just got that diffuser back.
Yes, they
Remember, they've got to walk all the way back into the building now is the other issue. However, Vert getting away with murder on Geo takes him out with no answer and gets a bit of damage, I believe, onto Achieved as well.
The issue is now, though, they know exactly where he is. They know he's in sight, and they have every single pathway to get into sight locked down. So Foxy's going to have to try and frag out with the help of Laxian in order to get themselves on site. Vert can obviously do his due diligence and try and get a couple more frags to open up some more pathways. Holes coming in from the top now by, I believe, Timsy with a secondary shotgun. Don't exactly, yep, it is Timsy upstairs. Laxton's gonna light him up a bit, but Tim still remains alive as we get down to that minute mark. Foxy's worked his way back. That's the man with the diffuser, so he's gonna be playing a little bit more passively until they can finally get that diffuser onto site. Need to deliver that payload, but Bolo takes down Lax, and that's gonna make this even more difficult. They're spread thin. Vert's trying to work things out inside of sight, dumps the mag, flicks to the other door, sees one, but he can't get the head. Oh, they're on both ends. Fox finally gets Achieve on rotation. Can he win it out? He can. Vert knocked it down to the double here. 2 versus 2 with that double kill. Pre-fires flying everywhere now. Not too much pressure on site. Bolo and Timsy remain. Timsy not very much HP either. I believe he's rotated off. No, he's actually still upstairs. Ah, no, I'll eat my words. He's actually out by pillars inside of lobby, sitting right next to the desk. We're gonna life him up real quick as Foxy starts to put this diffuser down. They're holding the 2 doors. They have to pitch at the same time, though. They have to make this work out. Bolo runs right into him, and this is the time for the man to make it happen, but he can't, and Vert with a quad shuts them all down. Timsy going for the utility instead of the lead, and it doesn't work out for him.
Vert fitting into the team like a glove, more like a gun, it seems, as he once again rips his way through the entire TSM lineup. A 4K for him. I believe that's the second one on the map as well, if you count round number 1. That's going to be Rec at 6-2, just dominating TSM on bank right now. And again, a lot of that play coming out from players like Vert, who is going absolutely lights out right now in this map.
Well, Reciprocity allowing bank through.
Let's talk about the fact that, like, Reciprocity has no business winning that round. That goes down, I believe, to a 2v4 or 2v5 at one point.
None.
They had to waste 40 to 50 seconds to go out of the building, go get the diffuser because it got picked at the start.
The part I want to highlight so bad is that Vert sat in sight for 1 minute and 15 seconds. He killed someone and just sat there. And that's not something that TSM usually allows. They usually have these aggressive players who are like, okay, I'll take the gunfight, let's go. And nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted to gunfight Vert. They just let him sit there the entire time, and he continued to be a thorn in their side. And eventually, that thorn got infected, and they ended up losing the round because of it. All because Vert was allowed to maintain pressure inside of sight, and then they let Foxy get it.
So, TSM now up against the wall, at least when it comes to this map. It's a best of 3 though, folks, so don't panic just yet if you're here rooting for them. They need to lose an additional one on top of this to be eliminated from the bracket.
5 seconds
Get knocked out of these conference finals before they make it on to the Grand Championship of USN itself.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
Well, do or die time now for TSM on their defense. couple cast barricades to 11 hits because it takes 12 to break them. Quickly rotate through those, and they keep their same integrity for bullets. So nice little trick there for you guys at home. They're relatively new to the game. Very creative way to handle things. Team Reciprocity focused on garage take. Plenty of drones pouring in now just to make sure that nobody is sitting at the back. But since this map is so big, more than likely not going to be anyone. But hey, once again, I'm going to be wrong. There's going to be Geo waiting because he's recognized more than likely that Reciprocity tends to gain access downstairs. There's a bunch of drones waiting here for him as well.
Let's see, Geo does have a camera to play into in the back of that van.
Vision tries to take the duel. The drone throws him off at just the last second, though. So close to winning that battle versus Nyx. Merc is here, though, and he's going to look to try and trade these back as he finds the initial trade on Divert himself.
Fantastic kill. Nyx still on the Ash, but very low HP. Fun fact coming in for you guys right now, TSM has not been able to figure out the basement site. They have a 36% win rate on it in their last 6 games, including an 0-3 in this tournament.
Foxay looking for options here now as he works himself around tellers on top of one of the main hatches. That should get bursted in just a couple of moments here. Nyx trying to push himself forward, taking care of some of the soft wall sitting in the next room, so as to hopefully give him earlier vision onto an opponent hiding behind it. Nothing scouted out from that, however, so the 2- or 3-man team that's stuck here right now is going to remain stuck for the time being.
Reciprocity, very methodical with this garage take. Still a ton of people. Merc holding a pixel, pre-fires back through, trying to play it off the edge. Bolo shows up, but no, it's achieved from downtown to take down Foxay. A quick flick from Retro. Can he get them both? He can. He downs them both. Oh, but finally Timsy shows up, and he's the savior. But Nyx cleans things up. He's got quite a bit of damage dealt to him, but do they know Laxing's inside of sight? Nyx gonna relocate himself. You know, Laxing just waiting inside of server, but the diffuser's down in garage, and that's gonna put Team Reciprocity into a pickle. They're split between these last 2 defenders. Does TSM know that they had the diffuser down though?
It's going to be a big question. Based on the way that they're playing, I would have to say yes. 38 seconds, and Nyx is going to try to make a play like this. Up on top of the police car, into small office, and then more than likely, at this point on the timer, I would have to say go down the main stairs. TSM, they've realized something's up. They don't have that presence in garage anymore. They know that the diffuser backed away, and they are frantically trying to find out which way it went. In the meantime, Laxing is still hunting. He has been pushed outside of the site. Nyx runs into a goo mine, but still gets the frag on Timsy. 12 seconds left, however, to at least start the diffuser process, and they can't fail it if they go past 0 timer. Achieve with a trade onto Nyx. That's the diffuser down a second time, but Laxing completes the rotate, brings in the upset on the round once again, and finishes off the 1v1 clutch. Reciprocity shut down map number 1, 7-2, and sit only 1 more wrap away from being the Western Conference champions and be our 2nd grand finalist for USN.
Reciprocity is looking so damn good right now, man. I don't know what what TSM has to do to really fix this. Again, it just feels like sometimes they are scared to go for these gunfights, and they definitely need to try and figure that one out. That late roam not working out for them. Also, Laxing with a nice mask of his movement with that EMP grenade.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us for the time being. We'll be back for map number 2, but let's send it down to the desk to break this map down.
We saw Reciprocity yesterday show up strong in map number 1, and they're keeping things consistent here in map number 2. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel Analyst Corner. I'm Jump with Rams and Veli. Gentlemen, it was quite the victory for Reciprocity. You said it yourself, Veli. They were going to come hot out of the gate. They weren't going to have patience, and that aggression certainly paid off.
I said it over and over again. I'm going to say it until you guys get sick of me. Vertical is the truth. That round where Vertical ran into Tellers all by himself and racked up a 4K to win the round in a 2v4, that shouldn't have happened. The fact that Vertical ran in the site and they, instead of trying to clamp down on him, Merc was on main stairs. Everyone tried to hold him off at an angle outside of the site. No verticality was involved, and Vertical was just free. He let Foxy try to get the plant, and he racked up enough kills to win.
The one thing that sticks out to me about that map, the entire map of Bank, that was played in such an unorthodox fashion. There were so many things that we have not necessarily seen for a very, very long time. At first, it looked like it was just going to be your standard Bank, push down blue stairs, drop in through server, backwards plant at the half wall, push upstairs, go to CEO, all this stuff. But instead, it looked like the first few rounds, Reciprocity was just sort of setting the pace, and they're like, okay, we're letting them get comfortable. Now throw the playbook out the window and just do crazy things. But it actually wasn't wasn't crazy. It was calculated and it was well executed. There was some combinations of operator selection that are worth noting. The first, the Mute and Mozzie combo. We always talk about how important it is to take away intel from the attackers. But then with the addition of Valkyrie and Maestro from the defenders to gain as much intel as possible while denying as much intel as possible to the attackers was influential while they're defending unorthodox bomb locations.
No, I'm gonna have to give my hats off to TSM. This was basically the game of counters. After Laxing and Vertical did such a stronghold on blue stairs, TSM said, hey, we don't have to go down that way this time. Let's go the back way. Let's go down main stairs and garage and try to get this win. Bolo secured the kill to win, but then, as you were saying, Reciprocity said, let's change things up. Utilizing most of their reinforcements and tellers in the elevator hallway, they stopped that same exact counter that TSM tried to use to beat them around before.
I mean, it is a life-size game of chess in many instances, making sure that you have your moves and your counter moves and Reciprocity. That intel information, we didn't peg for them as a strength coming into this. We also pegged the fact that TSM were the ones that decided that we were going to head over onto Bank. And like I mentioned, Vertical saying, we're happy to beat them at their own game. And what better way to start that now that we move to a new map, what a Reciprocity pick.
You have to give a ton of credit to Vertical.
Yes.
When it came to, you mentioned the play where he's inside of Teller's archives for so long, completely surrounded with none of his teammates to help him. There's that round and the round where Laxing and Nyx clutched up at the very end to win the map.
Yes.
The patience and the composure to reevaluate the scenario that they're in, to then create a plan and make it work was just impeccable.
I think Reciprocity are onto something. That whole open in Teller's hold that they were doing, especially when I believe it was Vertical, he was in Tellers the entire time. TSM, they were playing scared. They weren't pushing him. He wasted a lot of time on the clock, I believe almost 2 minutes, and that stuck with him. So maybe Reciprocity, they're learning along the way, and this is making them such a better team now.
And I think you add into the fact that despite not having been a cohesive unit as long as what we had, or as long as some of the other teams, when I talked to Fox, he said we haven't had time to synergize up. Many of their pushes onto the bottom floor allowed them, or really showcased the fact that they might not be perfect, but some of their timed pushes as a unit certainly adds value. Map 1 is done, however. TSM has an opportunity to come back. So let's now shift the conversation. TSM found a couple rounds of success, but only 2 rounds out of 9 is not something they're going to be able to do if they want a chance to force a map 3 and make it out of this Western Conference Finals.
Take advantage of your leads. That one round where the clutch happened with Vertical, listen, Retro was spawn killed with the objective. When that happens, lock it down, play it slow, but don't play too scared. TSM had so many advantages, but they never jumped on it. So if you can't do that, then, what are you doing? Stop playing scared, play aggressive like you did yesterday and secure those kills.
They just weren't gathering enough intel on their defensive rounds, and it really showed.
Yeah.
Well, we are getting ourselves ready for map number 2 that will be starting very shortly, but we also need to direct the conversation towards players that need to step up. We saw yesterday, Achieved went off of his rocker, Merc went off of his rocker, but today, it's not as impactful as what we want. Impact kills was a term that you brought up yesterday that I don't think was as relevant coming in onto this, and we can take a look at the stats actually and see where that's actually falling in line onto this.
Ooh.
You only had no one actually that pulled above a positive KD, and you're going to have these players stand up if they have any desire of forcing a map 3.
I think this is where not having Pojo Man playing in Timsy's spot is going to hurt him most. There's a huge difference between being the best team in the game and having some of the better individual players in the game. This shows it. In a team game, you cannot expect Achieve, Bolo, or Merc to go off at any given time to always win these rounds. At the end of the day, team game, utility play. You're going to have to play together, and they didn't have that.
Tying into what you're talking about impact frags, yes, they are important, and I don't think you can get a more impactful kill than Merc's spawn kill onto Retro with the diffuser. But you then have to turn around and give credit to Vertical. As the IGL, he took the slow, calculated opportunity to walk into sight and take out Geo, the anchor of the objective itself, and just wait patiently for his teammates to try to make their way around. But if you notice, Fox and Laxing didn't just immediately get on the roof and try to rotate around the building or jump outside or whatever. They held their positions for a little while, knowing that they had the time to play with and they were able to even up the man count a little bit more to eventually make it, you know, a 3v2, to which Vertical just had to step up and make the play.
All right, well, your TSM fans that are all across the globe, all over the United States, and most certainly that we've seen in the Twitch chat, make sure you give us your energy and take that energy over to social media. Make sure you use the hashtag R6USN to let us know your thoughts and whether or not you feel TSM is going to come out on top. Or if you're a fan of the Rec Pack, show your love, show your support, because they are one map away from winning Space Station Gaming tomorrow in the U.S. Nationals Championship. Map number 2 is headed up next, so it's back over to Stokes and Blue for the game call.
Time, ladies and gentlemen, to jump into our second and potentially final map of the Western Conference Final. TSM up against Reciprocity, and right now Reciprocity is looking fantastic. A barnstorming performance on Bank has netted them a 7-round victory with only 2 to 3 rounds in response from TSM. We now have to wait and see what they have to show us to get back into this game. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, to jump into our second and potentially final map.
And can we wait? I think not. TSM not having a very good showing on Bank overall. Rolling into Clubhouse now, it's going to be a very tall task for them to win, because yesterday Team Reciprocity made pretty quick work of Luminosity on this map in a 7-3 fashion. And they're actually extremely dominant on their offensive rounds, so that's something that TSM is going to have to try and figure out.
We're going to be getting into it in just a second here, folks. You hear the music. That means it's time to make some noise. Here's the map stats in case you need them as well. 7 and 6 bans. Not a map we see played too often by these teams, but a 5-6 record for TSM and a 3-6 record for Reciprocity. That may not tell the whole story, though. There's been roster changes, and most importantly, there's been a very, very good match for Reciprocity yesterday on this very map. So it's time to see if they have the prowess to take it down once again, and if players like Vertical are going to be able to show up just as dominantly as we saw in map number 1. Hibana's our first ban. He is going to be knocked, or she, excuse me, is going to be knocked out.
Yeah, get those X-Kairos out of here. We don't want you opening up too many hatches. Capital will follow suit. This has got way too much utility. Don't want him up. Don't want him to be able to counter out bandit tricking or anything of the sort. Obviously, there's still ways to do it, but Capital is, relatively speaking, the easiest way to do that. Reciprocity is going to have their final ban. It's a defensive ban this time around, though. They're going to be removing, after they think about it for a while, Valkyrie.
So Valkyrie is going to be the first defender ban. We should expect this last one to more than likely be a Maestro or Echo. We've had a couple curveballs today, though, so let's see what our last one is. Now, Mira actually going to be banned out once again, as she is found to be too useful here. So once more, this will be another match today where we have both Maestro and Echo left in the pool for play, which will be quite dangerous for the attacking team. Reciprocity is going to have potentially a lot to contend with if TSM decides to utilize both of them.
Well, as we jump into things, TSM already down 1 map starting this defense as they head downstairs to Church Arsenal Room, a fan favorite of Clubhouse. That's actually where a lot of people tend to start nowadays, is either there or CCTV. We don't see people start inside of Gym Bedroom too often, and Flynn's not here, so we're not going to be getting that bar defense that he loves so much.
Not today, more than likely anyway. We're going to be starting out in the basement, though, so we will see quite a bit of action there regardless.
To locate and defuse bombs.
Take a look and see what the opening defense setup is going to be here in basement for TSM. Should be pretty standard, especially when you look at their operator lineup. There's no curveballs here. We are going to see Bolo get back on that visual, though, as we no longer have the target ban from Rec against TSM to get rid of this. So Bolo is now free to go back onto this role, too.
Pretty creative from Reciprocity in that first game to go off the reservation from the regular bans and shift up how the map's going to play just by making TSM more, uncomfortable. So honestly, that might open it up to a lot of other teams to start to do that a little bit more often. Really, the only ban that we see nowadays that comes out to make teams uncomfortable is Thatcher. That's a favorite inside of Latin. We're just not going to use Thatcher. It makes things so easy. We don't want you to have access to that. Well, now that seems to be overflowing into other operators, and I really like how Reciprocity handled that.
So we do have Reciprocity spawned out and onto the field, ready to rock and roll at this point. So it's time to see how they're going to approach this. Again, we should expect quite a bit of delay on any actual action going on here. We do have a bit of roaming presence from TSM, so Rec is going to have to spend a bit of time clearing that out. Right now, it's in the second floor, close to the Gym Bedroom sites. So they will have to try and knock those guys out first. You can even see a little bit of that skirmish starting out here now as Vertical gets himself into a bit of a small fight, but I just think it's just actually to take down the softball here so he gets clean vision into the inside of bar.
Well, plenty of time for TSM still to waste, only 50 seconds in here now. Merc's already got a little bit of damage done to him, TSM on roam, but what else would you expect? Didn't show too much face on Bank. Feeling a little bit different this time around, probably want to try and warm things up, but Fox, they gonna put them right back in their places. Reciprocity is now being the methodical team, inching forward and gaining land as they go. Achieved, already off the board. Once again, Merc, a little bit of damage dealt to him, but he's gonna get droned out on the main stairs.
First floor.
Nyx slowly creeping down these steps with the drone assisting him. TSM should be ready for this at this point, and it seems they are. They don't take the fight, TSM backs away. They can't risk losing another player this early on in the round. Merc will get the better, however, of Foxe as he finds him way up on top. Retro is gonna be there to trade him out from just outside of the main stairs before he can get away to his teammate though. So we are gonna stay with a Reciprocity advantage at 4v3.
Well, the beauty of Clubhouse is you really only need 3 people to hold down the site, and they got Fox killed pretty early on, so don't have to worry about too many open hatches, but you're definitely gonna have to worry about that one. Geo definitely should not have been inside a Moto with a soft hatch above you, man. Gonna get ripped real quick from Nyx, and all of a sudden we're down into the 2 versus 4. Bolo and Timsy. Timsy, the only man that has any denial utility left, still has 2 toxic babes worrying about Moto right now. Bolo deep inside of the armory area.
They're just trying to stop the Moto push in its entirety, so there's the second gas grenade, I believe, working its way out. Timsy should have 1 more to delay the push. It's not going to be enough time-wise, though. All it's really going to do is stress Reciprocity. Even so, look at this. They're just going to pop open the church wall and work their way in from stairside. Timsy, though, gets aggressive on that. Is able to find Laxing, but there's a trade from Retro a second later. Everything's on Bolo now, but we know he can get these types of plays done. The plant going down not nearly early enough in the round here for Bolo to try and risk his life and just stop it. He'll move forward, still will find Nyx. Nearly lines up a headshot into his second player, but is unable to complete that kill so quickly. Still in it though, wraps over towards those main steps. Can't safely push up towards Moto just yet, trying to be avoided by any preset drones. He's gonna creep in here. He's gotta check his right side though on the push, but no! Vertical's ready to take the fight. He shuts it down, and Reciprocity get the first round.
What a fantastic round from Reciprocity. Coming back from the depths there, it looked pretty bleak, but they spill onto site in exciting fashion. Take down Timsy, take over Church, get the diffuser down, and then all I have to do is play for the post plant. Played pretty dang well as well. Just fell back into Moto, set up both angles so they could watch all of the doors. Overall, a great take from Reciprocity. And a good roam clear as well. They forced everybody back downstairs, and while everyone was going for those rotations, made a couple of picks along the way.
TSM clearly having an idea as to what mistakes might have been made in the first round, does go right for the repick onto basement instead of doing what some teams have been doing more recently, which is being a bit more liberal with the site swap, abandoning, not being afraid to abandon one and go towards cache CCTV or even gym bedroom if cache and CCTV don't work out too well here. But TSM is going to be a bit more hard-headed on it, at least for the time being.
From being defused by attackers.
Well, downstairs defense once again. Bolo still rocking the Vigil. Relatively the same setup, actually the exact same setup for TSM, so hopefully She doesn't get picked too early on here, as he will be on the Jaeger. Offense still bringing the 2 hard destructors, the last 2 that remain after the Habana ban. Last time Fox got picked pretty early on before he could do anything with the hashes, and it is going to be an extended roam, as you guys can see at the bottom of your screen. Merc is currently all the way upstairs at the jacuzzi wall reinforcing, as well as putting bandit batteries on those, so they have to rotate the Thatcher with their hard destruction in order to get the wall open, unless they want Fox to make a hole with his torch.
In just a second here, we have the attackers coming onto the field once again. Reciprocity will now make their second attempt to shut down a round on the very same site in basement. Same as that previous round, we've got roaming presence from TSM set up pretty well established, mainly towards cache and CCTV areas this time. But I believe they had it closer towards gym in the last round, although they may have shifted it later on, given the fact that Reciprocity decided to go into that side towards the strip club and bar and cleared out the roaming presence pretty quickly. It's going to be Vert that starts us off again as he pushes in towards Garage. Looks like he got a fight against Achieved inside of the site window. Managed to find his first pick from here.
Vert and the rest of the squad take control of CCTV as the roam clear is going pretty well already. Achieved dies, and Well, Reciprocity's got most of the control that they need to get these hatches open now, and a minute hasn't even been expended, so they're definitely on time. Always have to worry about that timer when you're on the offense. So, my Merc from downrange with a reflex. Gonna need an ACOG to see how crazy that was.
Got Nick slowly creeping down main stairs once again. Same thing that we saw him take the role of in the previous round here. Laxing will probably be with him relatively soon. He does have to self-drone, it looks like, for the time being, so not going to be the most time-efficient way in order to get down these steps, but at the same time, that geometrics position is going to be very important to realize that it's there, as if not, Nyx may have found himself a dead man just a few seconds ago. Now Geo is going to find himself in the awkward spot again. He knows he's been spotted, but he also knows he can't safely fall back at this point in time. He is locked in. He has to try and go for the 1-for-1, or even better, maybe the free one. Oh, goes back into kitchen for the second, though, and that's going to be where he'll meet his fate finally. Vert finds the trade back, and we go into another even situation.
That's the Geo that everyone expects to play. What a shot onto Nyx. Vert working his way down main now. Already been traded out, so we're at an equal 3-3. Still plenty of time on the board, but they need to start focusing on site. They need these rotates to come through for Reciprocity. Are they going to go for the same attack? Are they going to go for the church wall into church to get this diffuser down, while also taking control of Timsy's location with Merc? But this time, that's the difference maker. Merc is still alive. He still has bandit batteries, and he can still bandit trick. They do still have laxing, but bandit tricking through EMPs is not as difficult as it sounds.
40 seconds remaining, so Rec is going to start to pinch themselves for time here to get towards the very bitter end of the round. That's the second time today we've had a kill stolen from that top area, right above the big blue generator. Reciprocity now get the man advantage off of that. They do see those little flares on the edge of their screen, which means that the Vigil is somewhere nearby. Where exactly, they don't know just yet. They're gonna have to find that out. There they go, he's found first this time, and now everything falls to the fill-in Timsy in a 1v3 situation. He's gonna try to go for the flank through Moto, pops off one of the smoke charges. Looks like he might try to wrap and flank back around now, but he's only boxed himself out. The plant goes down onto the ground, and he can now no longer win this on timer. There we go, he's taken out by Laxing. Reciprocity claim their second basement attack.
Well, 1v3 doesn't work out for TSM. Reciprocity, another fantastic take towards the basement. And this is what we were talking about. Reciprocity, so good on this offensive play for Clubhouse. Just very methodical play. Work the drones in, get rid of the roam game. We don't have that too often on this map either, but they're even doing a good job with clearing that. 2 early kills onto Achieved, and he's been the front runner through multiple maps for TSM, so taking him out early has had such an impact on the outcome of these rounds.
It's looking like we got a pause here real quick, so give us a sec, guys, to figure out what's going on. From the looks of things, I would say attack pause based on those hand gestures from TSM's coach. Looks like he's got a few things to say here, and that does appear to be the case. So TSM calling a late timeout in this round to try and figure out what exactly is going on. It's pretty early on, to be fair, but I think it's a good call.
It's absolutely a good call. It's do or die time right now, and if you let Reciprocity too far out of reach, there's no way you're going to get it back, because especially on Clubhouse like we saw yesterday, they're an extremely dominant team. You're inside the lion's den right now. You got to figure a way out, and if you can take any time to separate, have discussion, and then go back into it, you need to take it early.
So we'll see what exactly TSM are going to be able to work for themselves once we get back into the game and on to the next round. But Rec are feeling confident about themselves right now. 2 rounds going into their favor on basement attacks on Clubhouse. If they manage to make it 3 on this next round, as a quick note, it does appear as though TSM is switching finally to CCTV and Cash. If they make it 3 on this next round, that's where, as you were just mentioning, it's getting really dangerous. It's very, very hard to fight back from an attacker-led opening half on Clubhouse.
Well, we've seen it before. We'll see if it happens again. The only question I really have for myself right now is, do those shooting sleeves really work? Because a lot of these players are wearing the shooting sleeves on their right arm.
So the one thing I could say for it is,
it's obviously better blood flow. I know that.
Yeah. So compression works. But I think the other thing with it too is friction, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, so your wrist and everything can't grab on your mouse pad.
I would think there'd be way less friction with that on a mouse pad. So, and I think that might actually be the main reason why people...
They're kind of the same material as well on the tops. Like, you have a very slick material for your cloth mouse pads, and obviously you have that. So I don't think there'd be anything, biting in between.
No, I think it would be pretty smooth. So I think that's the main reason why. But I've never used one. So Your guess is as good as mine.
I have to get you a Gucci shooting sleeve. We have to stay with the trend, guys. Gucci blue, Gucci shooting sleeve.
Yeah, we'll work on that. Got a fact coming in from our friends at CGG. Vertical and Laxing are leading the way for Reciprocity currently with a combined 25-8 scoreline.
Oh my God.
This includes their current opening duel record of 5-1.
Well, if you guys thought that the Skies Lax duo was scary, boy, do I have some news for you. The Vert Lax duo is something you don't want to play against. So, with the way that things are going right now, I can tell you, if it does end up going Reciprocity's way, I am so very excited to watch them play SSG tomorrow.
At the moment, it's looking like that may be the likely scenario that we get, but still quite a few more rounds to go before we have that decision made, and we could just as likely end up on a third and final map instead. Wall going to be open incredibly early in the round, only took them about 50 seconds to get it open, and this now gives them quite a bit of utility and time, more importantly, to play with on the execute.
It's going to be the right-hand panel. It's not the best one because you want to try and make a straight dash for the default plant spot, which is right next to the server center that's in the center of CCTV and the B bomb. It's tucked right inside that corner.
It also has a hop on it too, so that's going to be a bit tricky to work past as well.
Yeah, a little difficult because you have to go through that full animation. It also locks it to where you can't look behind. You can only look 90 degrees to your left and 90 degrees to your right. So, still plenty of pressure near site. Chief's playing construction. Gio's on a deep roam right now. He's all the way downstairs as he starts to work his way up main. Reciprocity and the rest of the squad start to fight Merc, but no, it's going to be achieved from in construction to shut down Nyx. Merc even still thought he was there. Achieved again with the double. Fighting fire with fire. He was the first pick 2 rounds in a row, but now TSM coming to life.
This is the TSM that we were seeing play yesterday against EG. Much more methodical play, and more importantly, not losing these players early on in the round, catching Reciprocity at their own game and tripping them up here. Another player from Rec gonna get dropped. That's Foxay down to Timsy. And now Laxing is left alone in a 1v5 with sub 1 minute on the clock.
Very representative of how TSM felt in the last game. Just kind of run around outside, hope you can finally get somewhere to get some frags, but instead, this is something that Reciprocity does very often. It's a makeshift timeout. Plenty of time left on the board, 30 seconds. Laxy's just going to hightail it back to spawn, sit there, and they're going to talk things out. They can't talk with their coach, but they can talk amongst themselves, and that's really all you need. You need to get things teed up for the next round. You more than likely know which site they're going to be going to because they just won the site that they were currently on, so they're only going to have 2 remaining sites for that site triangle that we always talk about.
Other terms, we have ourselves a bit of an existence pause here if you come from another game. We've seen this happen actually more and more often. This is like the 2nd or 3rd tournament recently that I've seen someone do this. So I've started to see doing these pauses become more often when attacking teams get put into basically unwinnable round situations.
Yeah, when the win percentage is literally less than 1%.
It's like, it's not even worth it. It's better to like, okay, let's do an immediate review of what just went wrong and fix it, basically, before we forget anything.
Exactly. Well, TSM teeing up Church for the next defensive round. Going to be the same setup as well. Achieved not going to be on the Jaeger this time, though. He's going to be on the Mozzie. Merc shifts over to the Jaeger. Timsy's still going to be on the Smoke. Bolo and Gio in their 2 regular places.
Now we are going back to basement, which is probably really good news for Reciprocity, as they've been winning these rounds back-to-back now. This will be the 3rd win on basement if they are able to get it again. But at the same time, I'm sure TSM is going to have a lot more confidence coming off that last duel. It seems they finally figured out what they need to do as well here. And it's, to be completely honest, don't take risks on early fights against Reciprocity. They held back, they took their strengths and played into the site, with the one very glaring exception to that being Merc, who had such a strong position and caught that 3-man push in from the balcony over on the bedroom side.
I still think it was quite comical that Merc couldn't even believe that Nyx was dead. He peeked, he's like, oh, he's right. Oh, Chief killed him. All right, well then.
So yeah, Merc and Achieve getting some work done over there, but besides that, much more restrained play from them. So I'm curious to see if TSM is going to continue that.
Attackers objective to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Well, we're hoping for a close one here, folks, but after that last round, a little shine of hope for the TSM fans out there. Reciprocity is still looking very dominant, though. One round does not prove that they can't just clean sweep the rest of the rounds away from TSM. Reciprocity, last time they played at the Clubhouse, just to update you guys if you didn't watch yesterday, beat LG 7-3 on this map. And LG is a team that loves those gunfights. So if that tells you anything, is that TSM is still in for a very long road ahead of them. Drone play still coming in for Reciprocity, and they're going to need this information game to work out so very well, because TSM is definitely high off of that roam game right now.
Reciprocity, already moving in to take some small amounts of control. Again, make good progress with the timer. Timing necessarily hasn't been a huge issue so much yet for Reciprocity here. Even in that last round when it was brought down to lax, and they still had a good minute and 15 seconds left on the clock, so that's not really a problem they've been working with. So they're fine to continue running it down and trying to play this out for, well, pretty much the entire round, should that be necessary.
Achieved inside of Cash. Waiting for Nix to make a move, but he's going to get a drone in front of him first, so he has that information. Achieved already falling off, as you guys saw the blue silhouette slip through the hatch inside of construction down to the stage next to Bar. Clean out the rest, Nix is more than likely going to know, hey, drop down the hatch, have to work things through. They have all the top pressure now, but as you guys can see, TSM is wasting quite a bit of time on that timer. This is something that Reciprocity hasn't had to deal with just yet. We'll see what they do when it gets down to crunch time.
Yeah, once again, smart decisions being made by TSM. They know that although, yeah, I still have this angle for myself from a defensive position, they know exactly where I am, and there's two of them, so if they push me, I'm going to be a dead man, as I have been the last 2 times we tried to play this site. Instead of sitting here and dying, let me just fall back. I've already wasted time. Now I can stay alive and actually win in the late round. That's the change up that TSM has made, and it could make the difference to finally net them a win here.
The issue is now for TSM, though, is that since they went for this roam strat, they use reinforcements that they regularly use on the hatches other places. So those are going to get immediately opened by soft destruction or the blowtorch of Fox. And now they have all this pressure, but the timer is definitely not going to be on their side anymore. It's a 5v5 with under a minute left, and this is where things tend to get crazy. Reciprocity downstairs inside of Moto already as they're trying to pressure out Church. Nitrocell sails over and it confirms onto Vertical. Fox A to fall as well as the rest of the squad's working their way down blue. But they're going to continue to more than likely run into obstacles. Retro pre-fires, can't find too much. Finally gets taken down by Bolo. Nix all alone inside of blue, gets 2. A couple of nice shots, but finally gets confirmed from Bolo. Laxing trades it out, goes down into the 2v1, and this is absolutely winnable. This man has been an absolute monster in the past, and it needs to happen once again. The diffuser's all the way in Narnia, though. He has to win it out off of gunfights, win it out against Achieved, but Timsy not even gonna peek, plays the timer, plays smart, and bags TSM a defensive round.
Once again, what's the decision from TSM at the end of the round? Hey guys, let's not take this fight. Let's play to our position, play on defense, and play on the timer. That will give TSM a second round in a row now. Living by that philosophy, now they've tied it up, so TSM seems to have figured something out here. Now it's just about sealing the deal, at least for this half, and trying to go for 4-2.
When it came down to it, is a sloppy execution from Reciprocity. They didn't really lean on their utility. Whether they burned it early, you really couldn't tell because there was just a lot of pre-fires coming through upstairs. They got the wall open for CCTV for the roam clear, but that was really about it, and they didn't need too much utility otherwise to break the hatches. I mean, it's just soft destruction. You can either torch them open, it's only a couple of seconds with that, or use a breaching charge or a lifeline or what have you. Once they got down to site, though, they tried to go for a split take into Moto from main stairs or inside of blue. Once the Moto take got snuffed out, all sites just locked onto blue, and once you're locked inside of that box, it's very hard to fight out. Nix got pretty deep inside of the Arsenal area, but then eventually got shut down. Laxing retrades, and then, well, you guys saw what happened with the rest of that. TSM with a nice little run of the timer, wins it out in the 1 versus 1.
Yeah, Nix right there, and we just saw the Reciprocity cameras actually for a second seemed pretty animated about something. I don't know if it was anger or just trying to explain something really quickly here in between the rounds, but didn't look happy.
It's one of those things where you're like, peek me.
Yeah.
Just peek me, please.
To locate a bomb and defuse it.
But no, this is competitive. We go for rounds, we don't go for kills. It's the way the cookie crumbles. Well, gonna shift things up now. TSM don't have a smoke anymore. It's gonna be Tim on the TCS G12 of Kaid. An operator we don't see that often, but still prominent enough that a lot of people know what he's about. But if you don't, he's got electro claws that he's able to throw that work as bandit batteries. They electrify reinforcements. You can be pretty creative with them, actually. They have a radius instead of having to be directly attached to the piece of metal, so they're pretty unique in that aspect.
Retro here currently trying to track down Bolo on the Vigil. No luck in finding him here at this point in time. As they're trying to watch for runouts as they try to find access to cache and CCTV to begin their push. Laxing taking a sniping position to try and find anyone who might rotate on the main stairs, but it's Bolo that starts us off. Seems as though they never really locked down his position on the drone, and Vert is going to be the first target taken out here on Rec as a result of that.
That reaction time still scares me to this day. You show a pixel and Bolo just removes your head for you. It's pretty incredible what he is able to achieve with that. Nyx rotates over to Strip Club now with the strip clear. Do have one sitting inside of stalls. Laxing's worked his way over as well. Retro upstairs, and I believe Jacuzzi balcony as the wall gets blown up. Yep, he's gonna blow up the left-hand side panel. The ball gets taken down inside of stalls. So a pretty equal trade thus far, but both of the top fraggers for both of these teams respectively removed.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Retro still trying to find the intel and what the setup is set up to be at this point. Only really can see 1 to 2 players on the inside of the actual site, though. Everything else still far too obscured for him. Laxing will make a move upstairs onto the roof, and I believe to get into position by the site windows in just a couple seconds, possibly along with Foxy, who you still have a Legion sitting on the inside of the previous round site as well here towards Cash. Laxing, he will take out Merc, who was that player. Merc at the same time managed to get his impact off just before going down. And with that, finds a trade.
They say you gotta catch them all. And he definitely did that, but he died for it.
Caught himself too, unfortunately.
Congratulations, you played yourself. Nyx works his way up red stairs now, through a little bit of barbed wire. Some ADSs still remain. Also gonna take a little bit of damage from, I believe, an electrical wall. Timsy holding up inside a bathroom. It's a man you want to stay alive. That TCS G12 rips. It is so much damage. And also, no, it is not a DMR. It is a slug shotgun. 2 shots to anybody in the chest will more than likely kill them.
15 seconds to go.
Time, as you can see here, has started to run low for Rec. They do have positioning on the inside of Jim to go for a plant, and better yet, Nyx has a cutoff. That doesn't mean it's safe, though. Geo is going to be able to finish him. Plant does get confirmed onto the ground, though, and that's dangerous for TSM. If Reciprocity can get back outside in a good position, it's going to be very, very difficult to properly counter-defuse this diffuser. Time gonna get lower and lower, already a quarter of the way through the timer. Rec having 2 players, and Timsy walking right past Laxing gets a fast double kill, shuts down the retake before it even starts, and gives Reciprocity yet another round, and most importantly, the lead at 3-2.
As one man that you do not want to get excited, because Laxing feeds off of that energy and he becomes a monster that is almost impossible to deal with. Reciprocity up once again 3-2, and that's going to mean that the best TSM can possibly do is have an equal split.
They'll go to CCTV and Cash for their final duel here, at least on these sides versus Rec.
That round actually ended very, very weird, if you really think about it. Reciprocity had a lot of endeavors going on across the map, but eventually Retro just works his way into sight and waits and puts the diffuser down while people are still alive. Timsy's still up inside a bathroom, and we still have 1 other TSM member playing near main stairs. Diffuser goes down, nobody really has a discussion about it. And after that, Reciprocity's already set up her post plan. Rotate Retro over towards the gym window, and Laxing stay on Jacuzzi. A quick 1-2, Reciprocity walks away with the round. But it was still just a very weird round for them overall, because they went for the side clear through construction, then shifted all of their sights to Jacuzzi after losing quite a few people with that bottom clear as well as that cache.
And it seemed like we didn't necessarily have an appropriate amount of defense on the wall leading out to Jacuzzi balcony either, just because of the fact that they got site control so easily and were able to start that plan at the end of the round. It's still very weird, like you mentioned, it's very weird how they were able to get to that point despite all the troubles they had in the round up to that point, besides getting that wall open relatively early.
Well, breaking into round 6 now, folks. TSM, Team Reciprocity. It's been pretty incredible so far. Reciprocity, if you guys are just joining us, 1 out on Bank, which was TSM's map pick, and they did it in pretty handed fashion. 7-2, which is not something I believe any of us expected, even though Reciprocity said that they were ready for the map. I still thought that we might go to max inside of regulation. Maybe TSM has something up the sleeve, but oh, no. It was all Reciprocity all the way, as they were the one with the mixed bag.
Nick's going to be making a bit more noise here as he works his way to the inside of construction site tunnel leading down to the basement. Fox, in the meantime, did take a bit of shock damage right there, but nothing really to remark on as he tries to get open the balcony wall once more.
Changing mag.
Very interesting to see Reciprocity play so methodical. I'm just so used to them forcing absolutely everything onto site. They're taking their time, working the drones, but especially how early on TSM has been getting aggro. They have to respect it. Merc, what is that reaction time? My God, Nyx. And another Merc on the pre-fire. That's Diffuser as well. Oh my. That three-headed snake showing itself once again.
Just recoiling himself into a kill. As for some reason,
Attackers have
the
recovered
unfortunate
their
player
diffuser.
from Reciprocity just doesn't see that happening and becomes the unfortunate victim of it. Foxay hoping for a trade in that window, but not to be found, so has to try and take it somewhere else. Curious if Merc has caught the play from Foxay. Foxay is definitely wary of it, but Vert instead, just a pixel of Merc's head showing, but that's enough, as Vert is going to be able to take him out finally.
That's the insane thing about these two teams is they all have players that if you show just a hair wrong, you die. Laxing now working himself into construction right off of site. Need to be aware of this. Geo more than likely is going to have a goo mine on this door, so they should be able to get that information pretty early on here before he has too much pressure inside of site. Geo's rotated all the way downstairs though. He's inside of blue. Smoke holding Overwatch towards blue stairs. The Vert as well downstairs near lounge as he works his way up. Toxic Babe coming in, Laxing gets one. Vert's worked his all the way up the staircase. Laxing takes down Bolo. Now it's down to a 2 versus 2, but Laxing has been down. Timsy gets one, it's all down to Vert, but do they know where he is? They have to hear this goo mine being pulled out. Loud and proud as he goes through that animation. Pops the wall, connecting to CCTV, but Geo's already rotated back downstairs. Only 6 seconds as Timsy rotates in. Does he see him? Pops a couple shots, but playing it safe. Play that time. 0-0 hits, and TSM splits on rounds for their defensive half.
2 out of 3 of those wins on the timer with, I believe, 1 shutdown happening in cache and CCTV. So good stuff from TSM to fight it back, but ultimately not a good half for them when you consider 3 attacking rounds were won by Reciprocity, which for Clubhouse is a lot. Now, assuming things go smoothly for them on the defense, they should be able to take a lead here and start out with an advantage on this half, but that also is pending on what TSM brings to the table. They've been getting more and more confident, in addition to smarter, as this map has been going on.
Yeah, hats off to TSM, really, because they've been able to adjust and keep this within grasp. They've already passed up, well, actually, no, excuse me, they're tied with the rounds that LG got yesterday, but now Reciprocity shifting over to the defensive side. Obviously, the dominant side on Clubhouse. So if TSM is actually able to make a stance on their offense, we could be going into overtime.
Very, very possible. Setup from Rec again should be pretty straightforward. I'm not imagining anything crazy coming out from them. A similar operator lineup as well to their opponent. We are going to see a few change-ups though, most notably I think a Mozzie coming into play for these guys. And I think that's a castle as well.
Yes, it is a castle.
Yeah, we do have a castle on the right. I was just looking for his...
You don't know wave check castle?
Well, I was trying to go off the top UI.
You better know wave check castle.
I actually just realized I probably could have looked at these side monitors and a lot more easily.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, you probably could have.
But you guys at home can't see those.
Need some wave checks up in the chat, guys. Gotta make sure to get those in there for our good friend Belly. Need his skin in the game soon.
We're working on it.
we have the best of the best at Ubisoft working on it.
In fact, actually, I said 2 out of 3 rounds earlier, just to correct myself. All 3 of TSM's rounds right now have been won just on running out of time. So they haven't won a round through actual fragging power yet.
Who needs fragging power when you can just let the timer at 0? Oh, Merc. Uh-oh. Lots of damage dealt to him. And by lots of damage, I mean he's down.
He's going to call Timsy over. Hey, help me out here real quick.
Hey, so I kind of got shot. And if you could be a doll and put a claymore here and make sure I don't die. Oh, he's got stun grenades, actually. Gonna throw one in just to mask the sound of him picking up Merc for just a second. Then hightails it away so Merc can put a claymore down. Bad news is now, though, one of your best gunfighters on the whole team only has 20 HP.
Good news, you still have your Thatcher as well for the utility coming with that. So
silver linings.
A lot to be used, however, for Merc, despite the low HP. A lot of presence here to try and clear out Laxing as he's reinforced himself to the inside of Cash Room and is looking to delay for as long as possible. He's not the only one playing this game. Foxay hiding behind the invulnerable mattress inside of the master bedroom as well.
Well, plenty of pressure inside of construction from Reciprocity, but Nyx all the way downstairs finally finds Merc. That was the man that was lit up earlier that we were talking about. Bolo, quite a bit of damage dealt to him as well, but nothing fatal just yet. TSM slow and methodical, just like we saw them on Bank, but they're having to deal with the Mute Mozzie combo. Throw a Vigil in there just for good measure, and that makes for a pretty damn good team comp. Wasting a lot of time right now is TSM. Laxing, lying in wait inside of construction with open arms, gets it Sheep, looking for two, and he does. He gets Timsy. He's holding the flank watch. That's Diffuser, and he does it again. Bolo, Lax with the triple. He might not have the highest headshot rating in the game, but I'm telling you what, this man's got what it takes to win out these gunfights.
Not much of a hope now for Geo. In case you missed it, Diffuser got down in the process of that and is now owned by Reciprocity. Geo's got to go back and ask for it. There's 5 very mean gentlemen that I don't think are going to be too keen on handing it over. So you know what, TSM, I think that they're going to go for the mid-round pause as well here. Just have Geo sit in a corner. Same corner he actually tried to pull off a flank on back on the last half. A bit irrelevant, but thought it was an interesting note. And yeah, just like we saw one round from Reciprocity in the last half, we're going to see TSM do the same thing. Just wait out these last 30 to 40 seconds and use it as time to talk and see what went wrong here.
And this is the danger of that Mute Mozzie combo. It does a huge amount of damage to your drone economy. You can't get the information.
Can we go to Nyx real quick?
15 seconds to go.
Let me take a look at Nyx's, no, his first person perspective.
10 seconds remaining.
Smiley face. Nyx is happy about it.
5 seconds left.
Why not?
Gotta love the claps.
Hey, you got the round, so. And there it is. Reciprocity claim round number 7, inching closer and closer to that big W here for the Western Conference Championship and the spot in the USN Championship tomorrow.
So, as we were saying, drone economy, that's the thing. And when you lose a lot of those drone-y things with cameras on them that make it to where you don't get shot and you don't have to face check everything, you tend to miss drone things and not have the information of where your opponent is. And that's very, very difficult when you're on the offense. The defense just gets to lie and wait. And when you don't check your corners, things like this happen. Where Laxing triple kills your entire team in a matter of 10 seconds, and a round is, well, basically completely one-sided, all because of a little bit of information.
And so with Reciprocity in leading contention here now, after a successful basement defense, they will switch up towards the upstairs sites. I believe Cash and CCTV should be their starting point here, and indeed it shall. Once again, defense being put up by them. Operators, pretty standard considering the fact that we've got Echo in play. Laxing's going to be jumping on that, and we'll set up those yokai drones. As for the attack, they actually did not bring an IQ to the table here, so it's going to be a bit harder to knock out those yokai drones, especially if for whatever reason TSM find themselves delayed and have to execute, as you often do on this site, in a very low time situation where you may not have the time to check for these types of things.
10 seconds to insertion.
Extended hold being set up from Team Reciprocity, as you guys can see in the center of your screen. Foxay setting up a reinforcement as well as rotation for weights, just so they can move a little bit faster. Reinforcing that right panel so that they don't have that long of a line of sight. And actually, if you guys can see, there is a myriad of separate holes set up all the way from red stairs to watch, I believe, the weights window if you can get that angle. It's either there or set up for cash, so you can play it off of the bomb chassis. Nevertheless, that's what it's used for. They're trying to see all the way over into weights just to make sure that they can have a supportive angle for whoever is playing on that end of the map.
So he's got achieved. He's gonna work his way up here first. You can already hear those screams from Geo as he's doing a little bit of work there on the wall already from the Mavericks POV.
Nothing like being electrocuted for your job, you know? It's a fun time.
You know, no risk, no reward, you know?
That is true. That is true. So the man with the blowtorch begins his work. Achieve, gonna rappel up just to hold the angles at the bottom once they're opened up. Geo works his way down, starts torching. Now what this does is it actually makes it to where the reinforcement hangs in the air. And since it is hanging in the air, the system believes that it's not actually there.
I will say, worth it in this circumstance.
I mean, yeah, because they still have Tim and Merc, but you hate to see it.
Yeah.
You really do.
I really hate to see
Bomb
that.
located by attackers.
All right.
I'm more curious if that was an intentional bait by TSM or not.
No,
because I don't think it was.
Because Vert was like, how did he shoot me? That's literally what his face was like. Like, how did I die here? Well, Timsy going to go for the upside down rappel to get this wall open. And obviously it's not going to be Bandit Strike. They don't have any Kaids. So This is just going to be all hands on deck to separate parts of the site, because now effectively CCTV is no man's land.
CCTV has got itself a nice new big window to play with, and that's going to make TSM very happy if they're able to get inside of it. About a minute left here, however, and still even. Never mind. Foxay picks up the next frag on a Nitro Cell to knock out Bolo. That's going to be him and a couple of the other members of Reciprocity. Again, starting to retreat, go back to the site, and just wait this timer out. Wait for the execute to come in from TSM. As we see that thrown through the hatch to take out the push inside of construction.
And this is the danger of Reciprocity. They rotate so much. It's so insane. Foxy's been off site 2 to 3 times, all inside of this same round. Finally coming back, gets concussed by a Zofia. Merc claims one that's laxing, knocks it down to equal. Smoke grenades now pouring in, but he's not going to have enough to stave off the rest of this round. Still 25 seconds remain. Fox goes for a wild jump and immediately gets crushed by Merc. All of a sudden, TSM takes the lead. Timsy and Merc inside of construction, achieved on the other end of the map. Timsy down. That's going to be the diffuser as well. Achieve worked his way in. Nick's the last remaining member. He's been concussed. They know where he is. Merc with a nice headshot, and TSM still fighting fire with fire.
TSM doing good work. They know that Reciprocity had, at the end of the round, kind of locked themselves into a corner slightly due to all the soft presence still in areas like construction, along with, if you go out towards the catwalk and garage, that as well. So despite the fact the wall never actually got fully opened for the attackers to access, they had enough angles to play with to isolate out the members of Reciprocity one by one and take control of a 4th round. 1-1 so far for this half on both team sides. Now we got to see who can take the lead once again. Overtime is looking very likely. This game remains in a kind of seesaw fashion, back and forth.
Name something more like Clubhouse. Oh wait, because I don't think that there truly is. This is the most seesaw map in the entire game. It's just 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. Only real time that we saw anything was when Reciprocity ran up 2 rounds on TSM off rip, and then TSM immediately started battling back. More than likely, understanding how Reciprocity wanted to handle those offenses from that point on, but already switched over to the defensive side now. 4-4. So we continue to really run down to an overtime here. I'm really feeling it at this point in time. TSM has already passed up the amount of rounds that LG got on Reciprocity. Reciprocity won this map yesterday in 7-3 fashion, currently sitting at 4-4. So a lot closer showing between these two.
Much closer match on this second map overall. As a quick reminder, folks, if TSM is able to pull out the win here on this second map, our 3rd and final map of the day will be Villa to decide which team takes the Western Conference Championship and moves on to the overall USN final tomorrow. TSM going to be moving themselves up onto the top of the east balcony here first. Again, wall's the priority. Just get that open first. As it, again, in case you missed that, Reciprocity are also re-attempting the same site. As far as their positions are concerned here, they've got 2 players hanging out over towards catwalk right now. And we also have a few more still on roam duty, just as they did in the last round. I imagine it would be anywhere near as aggressive as what we saw last round, however.
Oh, Gio working off of the pings to make sure that everything is in ship shape before he goes for the top of the wall, because it's going to be a lot more difficult to try and get the bottom once he started at the top. But as it is confirmed from his teammate, he will die to Nyx. Immediately jumps back into garage after they've killed the Maverick, and this time around, Vertical's still alive, so this is going to be a lot more difficult for TSM to get the wall open. They do still have the ability to, though, with the likes of Merc and Timsy still alive. Timsy has a diffuser as well. Minute and 40 seconds left. TSM needs to devise a plan that excludes Geo. Obviously, he can run some things off drones or to help them out just a little bit and make some calls, but the more they lose inside of this drone economy, the harder it gets. Foxay's already bagged 2 drones this round.
And he's going to be able to move them away, too, which means they're not going to get immediately kind of just taken out here, which I'm sure the Mozzie's fine with. Nyx as well finds an opening, is able to swing out from the garage door, taking out Timsy. Foxay striking with that Nitro Cell yet again, also taking out Bolo. Just Mark and Achieve left in this fight now.
Well, need a couple of entry frags to start this off, and Reciprocity's had all of those, so TSM now has to try and battle back. Chief starting off inside of stock, works his way through lounge, appears inside of garage, but can't find too much just yet. Well, definitely gonna make his presence known as he pops open the floor of cash. Reciprocity and the rest of the squad lie in wait upstairs. We have 3 people currently occupying garage. Retro, technically speaking, the only one on site. He's playing at the top of the red stairs, Laxing inside of blue. Another concussion pours in, so they know where Lax is now. A quick move from Achieve, but more than likely going to get red out. No, it's not. The bullets come through. Laxing still doesn't even hear him if they ting off the metal behind him. This is going to be the first kill that they need to try and make this happen. Foxay, though, finally takes down Achieved. Been alive just a little bit too long for their liking. And Nyx to drill it home as Reciprocity takes round 9 and the lead once again.
Just a small lead for the time being, though, of only 1 round. It's time to see if they can grow it, if they want to look for a shutdown here and take that 2-0 victory. For TSM, it's now time to wake up. You've got to keep trading these out to take this to OT, or finally find a way to get these wins consistently and get yourself back into the game with the lead under your control. Basement has been unlocked for use again by Rec, so they're going back to it. Last time they were on this, they won it, opening up that proposition for a 4-6.
Main issue for TSM right now on this offensive front is they're not prioritizing garage on that CCTV take, and it's really punishing them. It's giving a safe harbor for those players inside of CCTV that are trying to get pressure onto Geo when he's torching the wall. That's 2 times in a row that he's died. Granted, first time was his teammate, but the second follow-up was Nyx, who immediately got to hop into garage for free. I really feel like they need to shift their sights over to worrying about garage first and then taking the wall.
Given run-out positions a couple of times over to them as well, just like we saw from Nyx later on in the last round. To be fair, that was pretty late that he does that, but still, it's not the only time we've seen at least attempts at that happen. Reciprocity has known that they can get away with quite a bit from that garage door throughout the course of this map.
Reciprocity has practically been getting away with murder on a lot of these moves.
But that extends, I mean, even to the last map as well. We had a lot of similar stuff happening where Rec was just rotating into players from TSM that weren't even looking at them.
Yeah, for instance, like the Vert 3K to start us off, just no one assumed that he would continuously peek, and they're like, oh, we're just going to throw a stunt, I'm dead because I don't have my gun up. Keep your gun up, guys. Reciprocity will peek you.
Siege is a game where these types of flanks and cutoffs can literally end a round in just a few seconds, and we've already seen that. The play you just described is literally that. So you got to have someone watching those flanks. You got to have someone covering everything. Otherwise, someone on the enemy team can get away with plays like that.
Yeah, Reciprocity has made it kind of their namesake that they don't play passive in any instance. You know, if there's a gunfight there and they think they can win it, it's definitely going to be taken. And so far, they're proving themselves right, because there hasn't been an instance where TSM just completely shut them down. There was really only 1 round that I can draw back from memory right now where Team Reciprocity overcompensated. It was that second round on Bank where they had that extended roam and Laxing was inside of electrical room for some reason.
A weird one that we ended up happening. Geo as well had that strange round for himself on this map where he ended up getting caught on the inside of Kitchen. Still managed to go 1 for 1 on it, to be fair. We've had a couple interesting plays from roamers in general on both teams this match, but it's been fun to watch for certain. Geo is going to be popping open hatches. He'll take the safe burn here across the middle bar. No one can shoot him past that. Not that you would necessarily expect a lot of fire back to come in from this hatch, but still has to be safe anyway.
TSM slow and steady. See a Yokai drone, as you were just saying. Gonna remove that from Laxing's arsenal. Now down to just 1, and we don't have Bolo on IQ, so everyone's gonna have to keep an eye up for that. Vertical though, for Team Reciprocity playing the Pulse, and the operator we don't see too much of anymore, but he's still pretty prominent with certain teams. Reciprocity rocking him just because of how much information you can get on this site, in particular with them. When there's a lot of floors above you, you can track almost every single one, as we see Fert doing right now inside of Church.
Foxay actually taking a massive amount of damage right there. And he's gonna go down to just about 20 HP or so. The scan coming in once again from their Pulse here. They've got a good amount of intel as to what's on the other side of that wall. The Pulse isn't having the easiest time of doing it though. Getting a lot of utility thrown at him, from stun grenades to gas canisters. Now finally the wall itself getting blown open. Vert takes out the drone first, but Merc is gonna get the first actual kill here on the execute itself. Merc with a second as well. Right now he's opening up the door for his team, but Laxing just traded him. Someone else needs to step up to the plate, and it's not happening. They're trying to get this revive off. They're not covering their teammate. Nyx with 2 for himself, but Achieve moves in for the trade, but Nyx now finds number 3 on just this round. Looking for 4 in a second. He can see him through the wall, and there we go. 6-4 Reciprocity. 1 more away from the USN Finals.
Well, after we let that one sit there and simmer for a bit, we'll tell you what happened. TSM, very rough take. They got the wall open, and they also had the information that Laxton was playing very close. They definitely should have seen the shield that was placed there as well. As it's kind of become a regular thing when you know that they're going to go for the church wall. You set that up so you can play off of it because the mini bar is not bulletproof. Bullets can fly through that wood, so you want something there as kind of your center point in order to play close with a shotgun or that SMG-11, and Nyx makes magic happen, man. Whereas you could have had Timsy try and swing in and try and deal with the situation. They go for the safe bet and go for the pickup, which, as we know, Reciprocity loves to do. Wants that to happen, and he immediately capitalizes on it. Gets 2 kills, 4 total on the round for Nyx, and a fantastic showing of Reciprocity's backbone.
It's one that really showcases the power of those new deployables as well. Those new deployable shields.
Design, yeah.
Yeah, because they do have a small, almost basically like a mirror window installed within them. Yeah. And as a result of that, we saw at least on that last kill, and I would imagine with at least 1 or 2 others, he's able to get great intel on the exact position of his enemy before he even peeks. So quite a bit of power going over towards, especially shotgun players when they play behind those now.
Now all it takes is 1 quick peek, and the M590 will definitely do the damage inside of that range. Well, Reciprocity only needs 1 more round, folks, to make it to the finals tomorrow and send TSM packing. So far, it's been a pretty good show. And honestly, TSM is not looking too bad for how well Reciprocity played on this map yesterday. It's actually a lot closer than I assume a lot of people thought it was going to be.
So Bolo moving in. He is going to lose the drone. Should be able to shoot it before it goes anywhere, though. So just will conclude itself to be the equivalent of a lost drone there.
It's been such a big thing for Reciprocity throughout this entire game. They're so damn good at destroying the drone economy of the offense. TSM hasn't had too much luck in that. Geo's actually down from somewhere. I'm going to assume it was a window or what. Oh, no.
He dropped?
He might have fallen off the side of the AC unit, because that is high enough to down you. I've done that.
Oh.
Yeah. Definitely could have happened. Yep.
Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like a window's popped or anything. I was going to say maybe he just took a fight and that was like a reset, but...
I was assuming Vert shot him. That was really what I was assuming, but... No, apparently not. Rest of TSM, though.
That's a big mistake to make on a round like this.
Yeah, very large. Now 20 HP. Has to take extremely safe gunfights, because if 1 bullet hits him, he's dead.
Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite him, but we'll see. Timsy in with the rest of the team here, checking out the drones really quickly, and I'm sure making call-outs as well, as he's probably been assigned to that duty. Foxay going for the first of his rotates, and again, this is those mid-round calls that I was talking about from Reciprocity that's making them so scary to play against. Laxing just dropped from somewhere as well, and he's going to try to make a move too here soon.
Laxing rotating all the way to either stalls or strip club. Looking over on a secondary monitor here, he is just playing inside of the hallway, so a full roam here from Team Reciprocity late. This is something that they definitely excel inside of. Timsy in a long-distance gunfight. Wants to try and stay alive, though. He does still have that utility in hand as well as the diffuser. You don't want that guy dying too early on. Foxay with a deep rotate now all the way downstairs. Not a single soul will be home for him, so highway should be free travel. Nyx with a quick click of the head to Bolo, removes him from the round, and now Bolo has to sit and watch the rest of his team as they try and keep TSM's hopes and dreams alive. Gio's already got the wall open for Hookah. Laxing still waiting downstairs inside of stalls as the rest of the TSM squad finally gets this engine running. Nyx sitting inside of logistics. His timer continues to tick down. Pre-fires coming through from both ends. Achieve finally capitalizing on something. It's on to Vert. Still have 1 Toxic Babe in the hole for Retro, but it's going to be a quick trade. Achieved to take 1, Laxing to take the other, as we're still on equal footing. Nyx is looking for yet another, but he can't bag it. They have to get this diffuser down as it continues to wind. Nyx still inside of logistics, holding a good backbone onto the site. Oh no, they don't have the pressure. This has to go down somewhere. They're looking into ways, but where can it possibly go down? Timsy's gonna start putting it down behind the bomb chassis. Achieve falls. They're trying to get aggressive. Do they know where he is, though? It doesn't seem like the hot mark is coming out onto Tim. He sticks it, and he gets it down. Retro to claim him. Timsy in a 1 versus 3. It's all on the sub, folks. Pop the Toby eye tracker up to see exactly what he's thinking. He flicks onto 1. He's got 2 to find. Can he get the second? No. Playing it slow, waiting for someone to hop outside. Playing right outside of the waits window. That timer. Oh, the timer. He's trying to work it. He gets 1, but he doesn't get the second. Can Laxing get back in time? It's so very close, folks. I believe he's going to get it, and that's gonna be it. Oh, he gets him the quick bag over and over just to add insult to injury. The sub just not making it out as it's a double peak from Reciprocity, and they're going to the finals.
Big congratulations to Reciprocity. They are your Western Conference 2019 USN champions and our second grand finalists for our USN Grand Final tomorrow. What an epic match that will be, and what an epic conclusion to the Western Conference we just had right here. Reciprocity, amazing performance both yesterday and today. They look absolutely unstoppable right now.
Well, overall, fantastic showing by both teams there, to be completely honest with you. Clubhouse, though, kind of a one-sided affair as Reciprocity overall just showing their prowess, even in post-plant on that site. Gets down to 1v3. Timsy's able to make it a 1v1, but when you have two people peeking you from separate angles, very hard to deal with that. It's all love, though, even after a little bit of the crouch key check. It is all love.
Good sportsmen at the end of the day. Everybody shaking hands, lots of hugs as well. Good camaraderie between these guys. And in just a second here, we're gonna get our winners down on stage. But wow, what a performance from the guys on Reciprocity. That's gonna do it for us for today, guys. Let's send it back down to the stage with Jackie for an interview with our winners.
Hey guys! So I am with the Fraggy Machine, otherwise known, I'm so sorry, otherwise known as Laxine. No, I am just cracking up because your performance was just off the chain. Our desk was just, they were laughing. They were just like, this is crazy. Can you talk to me a little bit about your mindset? They're just like, what's his secret?
Yeah, I don't know. LAN is kind of my environment, so it's just feeding off the crowd. I mean, the crowd's amazing. You guys hype me up, so that's it.
Really? They seem really quiet. I can't even hear them. I'm totally joking. They have been awesome and totally amping you guys up. I want to talk to you guys about some of your strategies. So map 1, it just seems so unorthodox, but at times like controlled chaos. Was that just our interpretation, or do you agree with that?
No, so, I mean, TSM's a phenomenal team. If I could get a round of applause for those guys again coming out here.
You speak, they clap.
But going into scrims before this, we were practicing them a lot, and they were actually really good at bank. We tweaked a few things before coming into this after VOD reviewing earlier today, and we kind of took a lot of the control that we knew that we needed to get, positioning that we needed to get to just really make the map go in our favor.
Yeah, you guys somehow turn losing situations into winning ones. This team just has some unbelievable clutch factor. Again, what's the secret with you guys?
Honestly, before coming here, we had a lot of discipline issues that I figured maybe when it's a serious event, like, you know, those would tighten up. And sure enough, I mean, going to this event, a lot of those issues that we had, which were minor issues, but, you know, in this game, one small mistake can change everything. But yeah, no, we tightened up everything coming into this event. I mean, and then you look at the results of it. I mean, a 7-2 and then a 7-4. So, I mean, it's definitely paying off for us for sure. Okay,
so exceptional chemistry. Seems like you guys have the right mindset. Can you talk a little bit more about your strat with your opponent? Were you guys targeting Timsy? We know that this is kind of new for him.
We were actually targeting quite a few of them with the bans and then kind of working the bans in our favor that they use. It was nothing crazy. Like I said, all 5 of those guys are super crazy, phenomenal players, so it's hard to just target one because you still got 4 others to worry about. We just played our game, played what we knew that we needed to do, came out here, and like I said, 2-0, so I can't complain.
Okay, so TSM is behind us. SSG is ahead of us. What's the game plan for the finals? Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, we're feeling super confident, especially beating TSM, like I said. Again, they're a phenomenal team, so that gives us more confidence and everything to go into tomorrow and take on SSG. We're definitely going to do more VOD review, watch what they do, and then just kind of go from there and play our game.
And get a good night's sleep and not party in Vegas, right? Laxing, everybody! Give this man a round of applause. Do I even need to ask? Thank you so much, a great playing. You guys, he's unbelievable. I can't. I'm going to send it back to y'all.